Welcome to Blink 155, the internet's only Blink 182 podcast, celebrating its first anniversary this week. Josiah Hughes, happy anniversary.
Thank you, Sam. I've got quite a few gifts hidden for you around your house.
It's entirely spooky, actually. It is, of course, the first year anniversary is the paper anniversary, and
is that what it is?
Yeah. Do you and Sarah not do a traditional wedding gift every year that you're celebrating?
We do. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Who invented that shit? Like, what? How does that work?
I think it was...
it was like the bronze industry put it out there. Like,
right. No, I think it was all of the heads of industries, all of the sort of barons of the Industrial Revolution, because it truly is.
It was the Bilderberg Group.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, okay, and then also there's a leather anniversary and... Like shit that you just, I mean, like leather, obviously, you know, we're punks and also sexual punks, so that plays a huge role in both of our lives. But yeah, from time to time, it's like, it's the tin anniversary. And you're like, what the fuck am I going to do with that?
When's the cum anniversary is what I want to know.
Yeah. Oh, no. Okay. It just feels too early for cum chat, but...
we never say come before we do the intro.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It feels like it's so freeing.
It feels gross. It feels gross right now.
It's sort of like after the intro is like, you know, when you could run a Blue movie or whatever. It's like after 9 p.m. or something. You know, the kids have gone to bed. There's cum everywhere.
Every family gathers around the iPhone or Android. The kids listen to the start because they love what kind of verbal acrobatics you're going to do with how to introduce the song.
Well, Josiah, this one's pretty easy.
Yeah, well, let's we don't have to do it yet, but I mean, let's just quickly, what a year it's been.
What a year it's been.
People really were sort of like, I remember vaguely, people used to sort of take bets about who was going to quit first, who was going to give up first. That was like the running narrative other than which one of us was the mean one, which is you.
Yeah. That's fine.
But yeah, I remember people thinking like who's going to quit first. You've gone to Harvard online in this time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've done nothing except for this podcast in this time.
I mean, this podcast is ultimately sort of like your great contribution to both, you know, like cultural history and academia. Like this is a highly, you know, researched, you know, project that you have been participating in. And creating.
And it's just like, it's crazy that it feels like we're just getting started in a way. Like, it's like
well, because we are. Are we not even a third of the way through? Or oh god.
Wait, what number is it?
53.
Three. What's that times 3? 159.
Oh wow, okay.
So we did miss. I mean, you can't really divide 155 in 3 very easily.
It just can't be done. Don't even try.
They've been trying for centuries.
All of the math heads that love this pod are just vibrating right now, and I love it.
There are math like that's the other crazy thing is we've found so many people from all over the world. There's math heads, and there's like some guy who works for NASA that listens, and there's like so many fucking Australians.
Yeah, like a lot of Australians.
It's really crazy. And I'm glad that you haven't quit yet, and I'm glad that I will never quit.
I like the idea that I haven't quit yet, but you will never quit. Because I'm sure, when the bets were going in terms of who was going to quit, it was, I can't stick with anything. There's, as you pointed out to me right before we started recording, there's an entire Wikipedia, YouTube wiki entry dedicated to my YouTube channel that I have abandoned. And I didn't even know that existed, which is, I guess, a pun.
That exists.
I know.
And that even on that page, they've like, some nerd has kept track of the last time you tweeted about this exists.
Right. Yeah. So I don't have a really good track record for like sticking with creative pursuits. I burn real hot and then I am extinguished rapidly by my own just inability to see a project through to its conclusion. So
also I think you pitched this to me as like a fun larf. And I was like, yeah, we're going to fucking uncover the mysteries of the universe, bitch.
Yeah. You were like, oh, sure, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I also think I would have become bored by this or like just frustrated by its constant presence in my life much quicker. Because I mean, it still could happen were it not for, as you mentioned, and not to get like YouTubey about it, how consistently amazing it is to log on to Twitter or, you know, Instagram, or just have people approach you at a show to talk about this podcast. Like, it has honestly been such a fucking trip. And
It is literally insane.
I'm repeating myself from last week, but we had the Sclusy where there was an Australian we've never met interviewing Indonesian sound guys about Blink-182, and like people we've never met paid to hear that, which like that's a whole thing about just probably how we're also evil capitalists, I suppose. But it's been such a genuine pleasure. It's been such a genuine pleasure to like meet in a, I guess like a not a real way, but like the internet is as real as anything in 2018. To meet people that sort of share our passion, but also our cynicism, and are interested in taking this like completely unnecessary, but on some level incredibly rewarding look at something that we all sort of love so deeply in our souls. And I just like, I can't not be, motivated and like, this sucks, man. I can't believe I'm saying, but like moved by it a little bit. Sorry.
I'm laughing because it's true.
Right.
It's true.
I know.
I love the nation.
I love the nation, man. Like it's, and it's just so crazy to think that in a lot of ways they are our children, that inside of a year, I guess because we're Christians, like as a couple, you know, we're just raw dogging all day, every day, still in that honeymoon period, can't keep our hands off each other, can't keep our dude ranch out of each other. And we're just popping out members of the nation, left, right, and center.
Uh-huh.
And yet I can still remember our first date.
So we're being all wistful here, and Sam just went off record to tell a very detailed cum story that will just stay between us. It's really good.
Yeah, I was trying to explain to Josiah what was happening in my
so
brain.
Close to you right now.
Yeah, you are all of me. And so in that sort of awkward pause in the first 30 seconds of this podcast, that was me struggling to sort of shift out of a gear that my brain was in that was just like a cum story. Anyway, first date.
Yeah.
Let's deal with this right off the top. This is sort of my preferred method of interrogation. Josiah, how do you feel about the song First Date by Blink-182?
I feel like it's funny. We just did that whole long intro, and I feel like this is the first time where I realize that I'm losing objectivity.
How do you mean?
I always thought that I hated it, but then listening to it right now, I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. But I also think it's because I'm literally trapped in a hell of my own creation that is Blink-182.
Right. Now, did you listen to the song on its own, or did you only listen to the song in the context of watching the video?
Well, I have written down, I would say, about 40 covers. So I've heard the song, I would say, 85 times yesterday. And they say that you're not supposed to like go on screens before you go to bed. And my wife and I both have major insomnia issues sometimes.
Because of the screens?
So we've read a lot of the things like put your screens away. And every few weeks we'll be like, okay, let's actually do it. And then we just like sit on our hands at 9 p.m. and it's so boring. Because we just love the screens. I mean, who doesn't? Screens rock.
Screens but then rock.
Last night I was like, not only did I not put away my screens, but I started researching First Date at 10 p.m. for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then I just laid awake literally all night, just with like forever and ever. It's like so horrible. And yet putting on the video again today, I was like, Maybe it's good.
See, you're wrong, but I can appreciate where you're coming from. First Date is such a bad song, and this song belongs, for me, in the pile of Toy Pash songs that I deleted. So going from 16 tracks to 11 tracks by removing 4 songs, one of those songs was First Date, and so I actually, outside of its sort of omnipresence generally and seeing the band live, have not listened to this song in years, like deliberately listened to this song.
Right.
And I was reminded of why. Like, it's so fucking bad. And
Yeah.
like all of the singles from this album are so fucking bad, but this song is like so bad. It really, like, to me, this is what, like, when wife of the pod Ashley, like, hears Blink and doesn't like it for some reason. I feel like it's like this is how it sounds to her, where you're just like,
Yeah.
why bother?
Well, I mean, I agree, but I also just, I don't know. I think I'm just kind of losing myself a little
Right.
bit.
So this is
Just like on paper, I agree, and I do think it's like very lazy. But I guess I've just kind of like, I no longer have a soul anymore or a brain.
right.
I'm
Well,
just
your
like a
soul
shell
has
of a human
become
being.
the pod, and in the same way that we kind of described the nation, it's like the nation is us, but also we are the nation. I guess as the song goes, or however the fuck that song goes, but like. You have sort of, in particular, by immersing yourself, obviously a little more than me, in the sort of constant discourse around this podcast and the band that it's generated, you have sort of diffused your consciousness. So you are no longer simply Josiah Hughes, who lives in Calgary and is an editor at Exclaim. You are Josiah Hughes, but you're also... the hair editor of the pod. You're also the papa of the pod. I mean, maybe
I'm also
quite
Tom
literally.
DeLonge. I'm also Mark Hoppus. I'm also the studio in which they recorded this song. I am everything and nothing.
Exactly. And so,
It's really scary. And yet it's kind of beautiful.
well, in that sense, you can never die. And what is any creative pursuit, if it is not an attempt to gain immortality through the
Right.
act of creation? And so I think, perhaps that's the plane that you have ascended to. Maybe, and I'm not there yet because I don't spend enough time on Twitter, but...
That would kind of be like the ultimate irony that this would be the thing that would make you ascend to that plane instead of like one of Tom's Alien songs or whatever.
Right, but
Like
it's just...
it was the secret was here all along. He built this whole company, but he didn't need to because it was just these shitty throwaway punk songs.
I mean, it so often is the case with any real creative pursuit, right? Where the thing that like you spend all of your time and all of your energy on is, and we've talked about this in relation to Blink songs, but I mean this sort of writ large in terms of filmmaking and books and jokes, like things that you fuss over often are like too clever by half, or you end up sort of so deeply inside of your own head that they're not like a true expression of either your own humanity or the humanity around you. And
So you're almost describing like, say, spending 2.5 years writing and painstakingly recording an album with your band that virtually no one cares about versus once a week tossing off some bullshit about Blink-182.
Yeah.
And people all over the entire world are listening to it.
So for people who are not specifically attuned to the anxieties of Josiah's life, I believe you are talking about your band. Is that correct?
Yeah. Like I literally like a few years ago was like, I'm going to write an album that is like the hardest I've ever worked on songwriting and arranging and like put all this effort into it. And it's totally fine. I mean, there's too many albums in the world. I'm not trying to complain, but it's just like, it's been a real learning exercise of like, maybe don't try.
Maybe
Which
like,
I knew all along. Like,
Yeah.
don't try.
And so has the success of the podcast countered some of your crushing disappointment, it sounds like, in the sort of initial reception to the Prenup album?
No, it's kind of just like the same zen that you're talking about, literally, of just like,
Right.
take the easiest path. Like you were put on this earth to talk about fucking dogs and big board shorts and
Yeah.
Travis Barker's hair. You weren't put on this earth to do anything other than that.
I mean, I think there is some, nobility in recognizing sort of what your purpose is. And if your purpose is like, proliferating the idea that dude ranches cum, and then like just spending a lot of time talking about cum into a microphone, and then ask people to pay so you can continue to talk more about cum. I think that's...
And the even better part of that is that it's not even original, because there's already a very successful podcast called Cum Down.
Right,
like,
yeah.
us talking about cum is not even a novelty.
That's right, yeah. There is a better cum podcast.
But all of this is to say, like, this is the curse of Blink-182, is that they know that the dumber and more simple and like just baby pablum that they can make their songs, the more successful they will be. And it's been proven so many times, and I think that's why California is the way it is. So it's like, this is that taken to the nth degree. I've never said that out loud.
I've always said
I
the
guess-
nth degree.
I just-
But you already have two tweets by now that are correcting you and me.
yeah.
You won't make that mistake again.
But do you know the backstory of this song? I think we've even talked about it on this fucking pod before.
Yeah, it was just like there weren't enough fucking hits, and so it was like write a hit,
like
and Tom
Rick
wrote this in half an
DeVoe-
hour.
The manager, Rick DeVoe, was like, and I actually found him on Facebook the other day. Little side note, but I didn't do anything with it yet. But yeah, he was the first one to hear the actual songs from the album, because I guess they had just played all the. Let's not talk about the joke songs, but they had played those for other people.
I believe you promised people no more jokes on the pod, Josiah. So.
Yeah, that's why it hasn't been funny so far this week. He said that it was missing that Blink-182 Good Times Summer Anthem thing. And then I guess DeLonge and Hoppus were furious, remarking, "You want a fucking single? I'll write you the cheesiest, catchiest, throwaway fucking summertime single you've ever heard." And so Mark Hoppus wrote The Rock Show, and Tom DeLonge wrote First Date.
I mean, it sounds exactly like that. And sometimes I think those things can be good. Like I'm not better than like throwaway, like, fuck you, here's what you want. Here's just some red meat, you fucking pigs. I guess, do pigs eat red meat? They mostly just eat hay. What does a pig eat?
Mud? Don't they eat mud?
I think they just eat mud. But like this song just like, oh man, it doesn't.
But it worked. Then it worked. But it does work. That's the problem. Like, it worked, and
Right.
it worked too well. And now that they're in like a hell of their own creation, very similar to what we've done with our own thing.
Right, yeah. We decided to toss off 53 episodes of meticulously researched by at least one of us 2-hour explorations of 30-second songs.
Please don't talk about the joke songs.
Sorry.
I beg of you.
Yeah, if you want more about joke songs, please listen to part 1 of what is going to be a 10-part dissection of short music for short people on the Patreon. Holy fuck.
I had to send that episode to you using like a different file
Yeah.
transfer site that I'd never heard of before with like the weirdest URL.
Yeah, this is just, the files were too big. And that's, no.
So do you think the lyrics are the problem or the music? I mean, the music is very generic pop punk, but I think for me, like, there are simple rhymes, and then there are "in the car, I just can't wait to pick you up for our very first date." Like that's the same kind of reason why I can't really listen to Best Coast or like certain Wave songs, where it's just like every song is the word bored rhymed with bored. Also, I don't know.
Yeah, seemingly. I think what I don't like about the song is it reminds me of, and we've talked about this previously on the podcast, like, there is pop music that everyone that is like a music person listens to and will use to tell you that pop music is actually good. And then there's
Right.
actually popular music. And when I previously talked about this on the pod, I made the mistake of saying you hear it when you go to the gym, and I got all the response that I knew I would get, which is like, shut the fuck up, no one cares that you go to the gym. But it is, in my mind, vital context, because otherwise, unless you work or in a store that has just normal radio on, for the most part, your media habits are very much self-selected. So even if you listen to like the pop music playlist on Apple Music or Spotify, usually that's like still a playlist being made by someone with some fucking taste, and it's going to be like decent shit. This reminds me of the kind of song that I hear in the change room at the gym before I've put on my like all shredding metalcore playlist to just crush reps to, because I'm so jacked.
That makes me like this song more than
right.
whatever.
It just that's the pop melody that I hear, is like that, just like boring and obvious sort of pop melody. Like, this would not be a good Carly Rae Jepsen song. The Jepsen heads would hate it.
Although I feel like those Jepsen heads would eat up whatever they were fed.
That's true, yeah. the Jepsen pigs just in the mud of
eating hay and shredded newspaper, I think, is what they eat.
Right, I think technically. Like, it just misses the mark for me of being like an actually good pop song. And I can't get past that. And part of me is like worried that it's some kind of like deep-seated, just like, I can't shake my own snobbery, and this was a big single, and you're like, oh, that's not, the band isn't really like that. But I'm pretty sure as a 33-year-old man, I can recognize like when I'm just getting in my own way.
Yeah, you like a lot of terrible shit.
I like so much shit.
I have bad taste, so I don't think it's that.
Exactly. It's definitely not that. But like,
no, this was also, yeah, you're totally right. And I didn't own this album because I thought that it was all going to sound like this and Rock Show. Like, this is where these two songs, and I guess that's the backstory of them sort of fits with that, but these two songs were like, oh, Blink-182 have straight up definitely 100% sold out, and whatever remaining like fun part of them existed is gone.
It's it's just like soulless in a way that, you know, What's My Age Again isn't. Like, What's My Age Again, which I would consider to be like maybe the last great Blink single kind of that era, because obviously I didn't get much of a chance to express my All the Small Things opinion because
whose fault was that?
Yeah. But like, All the Small Things sucks, but that's a given. And then I think eventually they get into a world where the singles are kind of good again, because I guess like Feeling This is maybe the first single once you get out of this era, and that's like an insane adventurous song. But
yeah,
this just sort of sits in this rut of like really unimaginative shit, and it sucks because now it like dominates the live shows, and it's what ends up on playlists, and it's fucking bad, man.
You care so much about playlists, I've noticed.
Because I'm very invested in playlist culture because it's the future. And it's all that matters in terms of music consumption.
I'm all about opening Apple Music, going to new releases, clicking play on a new rap release that I've heard of, and then getting distracted by a YouTube video and pressing pause and never listening to the rest of it ever again.
I mean, that's like
working in silence for the rest of the day.
It sounds great, man.
I almost actually do think that all the Small Things is in some way that I can't quite figure out a better written song than this.
You think?
And this does sort of remind me of like She's Out of Her Mind or some of the newer California songs where it's like some of their songs don't sound like they were written in 10 minutes, like Don't Leave Me or whatever. Mm-hmm. But this song truly does sound like a first draft or like half of a draft. And I think the other problem is that there's kind of nothing, like the lyrics are just a wisp of a thought. There's truly nothing subversive or like clever about it. No. Other than, I guess, he's just talking about his insecurity, but like
it's such a straightforward, like there's no twist. It's not like at the end you realize that the first date was actually with a dog or your mom.
Or like he's eaten raisins before and he's eaten prunes, but he's just had, can we redo the intro?
Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah, let's. We're gonna cut that in.
Okay, good.
It took me a minute to see where you were going. That long pause was me figuring out the joke. Not the clever one of the pod.
And neither am I.
No, but like, it's so rote. The one interesting thing. So like, I was listening to this song on headphones like a couple of days ago, just to try to like kind of reacquaint myself with it, because it just feels like this sort of thing that is not even written by this band to me, because I sort of just removed it from my experience of them. And there's like bits that are interesting, like in the verses when it's like just the bass, you get the like ding 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 kind of guitar part that comes in, which is like kind of nice. And I also realized this recent sort of return to the song was the first time I had listened to it again as a person that knows how to play music. Like, that I heard this record when I probably had a very rudimentary understanding of like how to play in a band, and then just ignored it completely. And so now you're able to go back to it as a person that can like separate sounds and be like, oh, that's like a neat guitar part, I guess. But it's like, and then it just comes back identically in the second verse. Like, there's just nothing creative. It's just like literally A, B, A, B, C, B. Like,
Yeah,
this is
and
nothing.
even the guitar riff is so like nothing. Also, that it almost sounds like House Hunters music or something, or like, you know, like someone who works for a TV music studio. Where
It's
just in an
fully- yes.
afternoon they shit out like a fake pop, and all those people are always making pop punk songs for some reason.
Yeah, because they all are like people who grew up on this shit. It's so easy to do. But yeah, if you're like making a TV spot and you need like royalty-free music from Jingle Punks and you look for something that sounds like Blink-182, this is the song you get. 100%.
Yeah, I love it.
Just fucking be-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Like, it's not even a riff.
Okay.
Like, sing the fucking riff.
I feel like I've talked about how much I love the House Hunters International song before somewhere, maybe on Twitter. But now I got to play it quickly because it's so good.
Is it? And it's like so similar to this? Or you're just excited
Literally
to share
on
it?
Spotify.
Really?
Oh my god, why is it on metrolyrics.com?
Wow, you're not the only one with a passion for this song, dude.
Yeah. But except it says it's credited to Jay Moore, who I believe is like a comedian.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Okay, is this it?
Jacob has an odd request on this house hunt.
If there's secret passageways. This is crazy sweet.
You are a creep.
But his wife Megan wants a top-of-the-line kitchen.
What the fuck, guys? I don't want to see that part. I just need the... Anyways, it's the best TV punk. Maybe it's here. It sounds like Avril Lavigne or Hawk Nelson. It sounds like Christian mainstream pop punk.
I was like, I don't know what Hawk Nelson is, but
I know you don't.
Yeah, it is like royalty-free pop punk music, and
Yeah.
I can't.
And actually, the other thing is to mention the paywall again. We 30 years ago talked about Tom DeLonge's like demos compilation or whatever, and I think he kind of reused this song for his song about California, that one about like
Oh,
sucking
Golden-
dicks or whatever.
I believe it's Golden Showers in the Golden State. Yeah,
Yeah, like it seems like probably even him, but then again, your brain must get broken if you just realize that, like, this is just first thought, best thought gone to a dark place.
right. I mean, you still have to vet those first thoughts. Not every first thought is the best thought.
Yeah,
And,
I get like, but then that must just be such a like prison, right? And I do wonder, like, most of Mark's songs, I actually think Mark is better than Tom at doing first thought, best thought, because Tom is able to do things like Asthenia, for example, where it's like so ridiculously high concept but still turns out really well. Whereas I feel like Mark's first thought songs are usually a little bit better. Other
right.
Than,
Online songs, Don't Leave Me. Like, those are like definitely
Yeah.
first thought type songs. That's actually really interesting. Because, yeah, fussed over Tom songs are usually fucking insane and super compelling. And fussed over Mark songs are like all of California. Now, I don't want to transition us too quickly into this, but I kind of feel like on some level we have nothing to say about... Because because the song is nothing. Like it's musically, it's fucking Jingle Punk's theme. Lyrically, it's just like it sounds like filler. I mean, it's
Yeah, well, I just want to, before you transition us out of this, I want to, regarding the lyrics, it's not like, and again, when your song is about nothing, it's hilarious that you have to, like, answer questions about what your song is about. It's just, like, don't talk about it. But in the Toy Page tour program or whatever, is that a thing that still exists? They publish, like, a $30 magazine that you buy at the merch table?
I don't know.
I haven't been to a concert like that in so long.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if anyone out there has recently bought a tour program, you know,
I feel like probably more of our listeners are the kind of people who like go to stuff instead of like get guest lists and then don't go, which is my vibe.
right?
Like
You just
make
like
sure
to
you're
know
on
that
the
you
guest
could
list and then
know.
stay. Yeah, exactly.
You know, I was listening to the new Good Charlotte song today and thinking about you, and your Good Charlotte guest list took up.
Yeah, I mean
pretty-
that was pretty good.
It's actually a pretty good song.
Yeah, it's okay. It's pretty good.
It definitely
I'm
feels like
curious
they're
to hear where the rest of the album goes. Like the last Good Charlotte album was so good.
really.
They nailed it on a Back to Basics one, and it was produced by Feldy, but it didn't sound like it was produced by Feldy.
That song definitely kind of just sounds like, at least right off the top, that they're kind of leaning into knowing that like Lil Peep was super influenced by them, and that now they're gonna have a lot of like Lil Peep fans listening, because eventually it just starts sounding like a big kind of stadium pop rock song. But off the top, it's got a bit of a fucking Peep vibe to it.
Yeah, I think they literally did like dedicate it to him or something.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of things.
Anyways, so the Toy Page tour booklet thingy that I don't fucking know. This is what Tom said about the song. Every dude gets nervous whether we admit it or not. I thought about the first date I had with my lady and put every one of those feelings in this song. I always envy girls. If they want to kiss, it's super easy. They just open their face and do it. For a guy, you have to hope to God she wants one. If not, you are a chump and you go home a wounded soldier. Has anyone ever kissed someone with bad breath? Don't ever kiss someone who eats dog shit. So dumb.
Fuck. I mean, it's true. Tom brings up a
kinda
great
seems
point,
like
which
he's
is
trying
that
to hit a word count on a essay.
yeah, he's shrunk the margins. He's at like a 0.5 above sort of the
You
the
put a
font.
Martin Luther King quote at the start.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, everyone remembers MLK's famous quote about kissing someone who's eating dog shit. I like that because this sort of puts the song in this sort of weird like contemporary MRA context where Tom is basically saying like if you're a girl, everything's so easy. Whereas no one understands the pain of cis white men such as Tom. Like that's who's really got it hard. No one really thinks about them, and so thank God that
It's definitely like proto incel rhetoric.
yeah, exactly.
But also another funny thing that is worth noting because I just remembered. But not only is this song about his quote lady Jennifer DeLong, now his wife, but All the Small Things is also about her. So he's written two of his most annoying and bad songs about his wife.
Do you think she kind of like quietly resents that?
Well, somebody pointed out on Twitter. I can't remember who. It was one of you fucking people. They pointed out that someone on Reddit, there's like this creepy thread that noticed that neither of them have been wearing their wedding rings lately.
Ooh.
So maybe that'll be in the documents.
Right, yeah. We still have not seen the document. So sometimes we, the guest spot gets recorded before. I mean, there's no real like logic to any of this, but we are currently
Literally any of it.
yeah, we are at present 85 minutes away from boy reporter Josh O'Kane arriving at my home with a dossier of documents, which he sent me a photo of. So maybe we can gram that sort of to amp up the excitement for this episode and for the documents. But they are quite literally in a manila folder.
Like he's
on
only
their way
coming to your
us.
house so that he can slide them across the table to you.
Yeah, like I would rather never do anything in person, but he was quite adamant that the slide across the table was an integral part of the delivery. So he will be at my home in, again, about 84 minutes now, which is a bit
right,
of a
well, we
time
gotta
crunch. As
Keep this moving here.
Yeah.
Keep this moving. Okay, I think I have a feeling that I know what you were trying to segue. Was it the homework that I sent you?
Oh no, it was not even the homework, but which I did do.
Good, because I didn't.
Oh, really? So would you like me to tell you about the article
Well,
that you sent
first,
me?
I think I have a good way to segue it. So I want to show you this legendarily bad performance that Tom did of the song.
Okay.
This is kind of like, this always pops up as being like a new low, and it's worth it to watch Mark while he sings because it's so bad. This is like peak Tom, like, I don't know, post-dentist voice, I guess. By the way, last week, I didn't even mention it on the pod, but last week, like 2 hours before we started, one of my molars broke in half.
What?
Yeah, it didn't hurt at all, but I had a broken tooth the whole time. And then the next day I went to the dentist and got 3 fillings.
Wow. Look at you soldiering through. Also, is that like, did you hurt yourself again? Is that the like ambulances coming for the rest of your
Oh my
teeth
God.
or whatever?
Well, we're deep into the Calgary Stampede, and it's the first time that I've lived in this downtown condo right by there. So it's just a constant like disaster of puking cowboys and fights and like blood in the streets and
Wasn't there a thing?
limos and ambulances.
So, like, just because I do think the Calgary Stampede, and I'm sorry because I know we're in a time crunch, but can you, for our non-Canadian listeners, because you know Bill Billingsley is fuming right now at how Canadian this is getting.
I actually feel like anytime I've ever traveled anywhere, people have told, like in Japan, people are like, "Oh yeah, I've been to Canada before. I went to the Calgary Stampede."
Okay, so
I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's terrible.
And so for people who don't know, Calgary has this like totally sort of phony and vintage image as a cowboy town. The Stampede is sort of the centerpiece of all that. And it's like you guys have a bunch of like horse races and Alexis on Fire plays. That's sort of it, right?
Yeah, like but then also there's like this tent. Well, there's this legendarily shitty bar called Cowboys that became Cowboys Casino a while ago. And it's on the Stampede grounds. And they'll like, I don't know, you can like go watch like very sad looking cowboy girls dance on gambling tables at 3 p.m. during the Stampede, and just everyone looks like they don't want to be there. It's so depressing. And then during the Stampede, they book like big artists. Like that's where I saw Blink-182 with Matt Skiba in the Cowboys tent, and it's literally like one of those paintings of hell that you see, like
Wait, hold on.
Dante's depiction of hell.
But wait, did you see them just at that bar, or you saw them at that bar during Stampede?
Yeah, like during Stampede, they have a giant tent in the back that they've crammed full of like 20,000 people. Like it's always way over capacity, and honestly, like the level of hedonism that happens at the Stampede is crazy. It's just constant like puking and like cocaine everywhere, and just like it's fucking insane. And the bars are allowed to open at 6 a.m. for some reason. I think usually,
what?
and like, yeah, like it's just fucked. It's just like for 10 days they're just like, it's the Wild West in the worst possible sense of the term. So, I mean, the Stampede legendarily went viral. I would say
A couple years ago
or something, because people just started having a threesome in public at like 3 p.m. on the grounds. It's like a fair. Like there's like kids going on like merry-go-rounds, and then these people in cowboy hats started having a threesome.
Oh, that's so good.
It's crazy.
So because I love a spectacle. Like I love a grotesque display of humanity's baser instincts. And so you seem kind of horrified by it and by living so close to it for the first time. Whereas I've already suggested to you that I come to Calgary next Stampede. And
I mean, it's definitely, yeah, it's better than when it's just a bunch of like really boring normies everywhere. Now the boring normies are at least ruining themselves and spending like $300 cash every hour on fucking $12 Budweisers and stuff.
But like in Toronto, when there's a big event, like when it's TIFF, the bars will stay open later. They won't open earlier. So the idea that it's like
I don't
it's a
understand it
party, so
either.
the bar opens at 6 a.m. is fucking insane. And proof, dude, I swear, like I'm gonna come to. Can I stay on your couch? We're good enough friends. You let me stay on your couch, right?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe we'll do like, because we're going to do a Toronto Blink 155 event when you are here for TIFF in September, whether you like it or not. And so I think we should do like a Stampede, like an unaffiliated, unofficial Blink 155 Stampede event next year. And that can be how we celebrate the 2-year anniversary.
Yeah, I guess it's always been a Stampede pod.
Exactly. And
Oh,
we could
God.
maybe finally have that threesome. So. So you sent me in the heat of the Stampede a like 5,000 word article at midnight last night as
Okay, but hang on.
homework.
Before we get to that, this is the segue here. So this
Oh.
terrible live performance from 2010, K-Rock. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what city it is. I guess K-Rock is at LA.
Yeah, K-Rock's LA.
Okay, so just listen to Tom here. I mean, I feel like he's trolling a little bit, but who knows?
Let's go, do it. This night's almost over. Honest, let's make this night last forever, ever. Let's make this last forever, ever. Let's make this last forever.
What? Oh, wow.
Like the singing is so bad at first, and then does he just do that trolling bit, like because he knows he sucks?
I mean, we've sort of danced around this before where we want to, make sure that we are as critical of the band as possible to not appear that we are in the pocket of Big Blink.
Right.
But we also do need to keep in mind that it's entirely possible this time that this is a man who's like profoundly addicted to painkillers, right?
Isn't
that, like, part of the
Is that
story?
what painkiller addiction does? It makes
I
you
don't
like
know, man. Doesn't like drug addiction? It's weird though, right? There's like a lot of stuff happening in my neighborhood right now, and there's like a guy on a ladder that's like going to be looking at me podcasting in about 2 seconds. It's like
Cool.
It's really
It's Tom.
weird. And he's
That's
like
Bill Billingsley.
I'm clear. That's my Tom impression. Based on that, what the fuck is the possible? But like honestly, like that is
Okay, here's one other possible reason before we do the segue. This is from 2013 at BlizzCon, and Tom, I guess you were talking about how it's like they have to play it live because it's such a huge hit. I think Tom really actually hated playing it live because, just listen to the audio of this. So maybe that's why he sings it so badly. That's one possible explanation. But just listen to this.
Oh, you fucker. You snuck this on, you son of a...
I emailed the set list to you last night, shithead.
I don't read your emails. Doug, how did you let this fucking... Hold on a second.
So he literally Mark snuck it on the set list for real. Like Tom is genuinely confused and angry that it's on the set list.
And who's he yelling at? Does he yell at Doug?
I think so. Yeah, because he literally has to trade guitars with his guitar tech because he didn't have the right guitar for, I don't know.
Wow.
But you can see on his
No,
face
you-
he's genuinely surprised. It's not
Also-
like a bit.
Yeah, you're not riffing there. Doug Reich is Tom's guitar tech.
Oh yeah, actually I think I saw that guy when I was looking through Rick Devo's friends on Facebook.
Yo, let's get him on, man.
Yeah, so I don't know. And then I did notice that after this, they played Asthenia at this one show. So maybe it was like, if Tom does this song that he hates playing, then he'll get rewarded with playing Asthenia.
Right. It's like a one for them, one for you type scenario.
So I don't know. Maybe he just hates playing it so much that he was having an out-of-body experience in that last video before this. I don't know. But I do think it's sort of the end result of the homework that I made you do last night.
Well, yeah, it is. And now we're not quite in the segue, but it's hard to imagine what it must be like to have to play any song as much as they've had to play First Date or Damn It or any of those songs. But in particular to play a song that maybe you never loved in the first place. Like if the song was written from a place of like, go fuck yourself, and there would never be any like joy to be had from its live performance,
Which
know?
literally is the sort of like, not to drop the bard again, but it almost seems Shakespearean, the irony of that, like, and that makes me like it again, is that he just like shat out this song out of spite, but now he must play it forever.
In order. But
Oh,
that's
hey, look, it's time for an Ashley style walk on.
Oh, walk on?
Hey,
Hey Sarah.
how's it going? Have anything to say about First Date?
First date?
Yeah.
Shot in Canada?
Yeah. we'll get to that.
Oh,
We're not
wow.
in the video yet.
Video.
Oh, she fucked up her segue.
No, it's fine. We'll come back to it. Ask.
I want to say something.
Oh, she does want to say something. Okay, come here. Get on mic quickly. What is this?
This one, the Pod Nation.
Yeah.
I hate Matt Skiba.
Oh, shit.
Okay, well, is Sarah going to be present for the anniversary Twitch stream on Friday night?
Yeah, she is. So if
Okay,
Matt
so-
Skiba wants to get on the stream,
Well,
he
she's.
can.
I will be in Matt Skiba's stead, defending his honor. It'll be fine. What was your first date with Sarah, Josiah?
Oh, I knew this was going to come up. We were already like kind of like hanging out a bunch before we went on an actual date. Like, we kind of just like started hanging out and have never stopped. But we went. Our first actual we're going on a date was Shrek 2.
Hell yeah!
How about you and Ashley?
I believe not sort of our first date. Same thing. We just sort of like we're hanging out, and I was like trying to insist that like she like me. But I would say it all sort of really started with a Matthew Good concert in Waterloo, Ontario. So
That's very on brand for both of us, I think.
yeah, I think so. I think that's we're living the lives that we were meant to live. So the reason why you sent me some homework was because you discovered, I believe, an Atlas Obscura article where
Yeah, this was actually so we do have a spreadsheet of all of our songs. And this was one that I don't even remember when or how I found this, but I put it on the spreadsheet beside First Date. And then I was like, "Oh, I better check the spreadsheet." And sure enough, it was like a message in a bottle.
I didn't realize that, like, because I never look at the spreadsheet, and so I like
not.
that. I like that you. Do you really?
Just when I see something that I know that we're gonna want later for a big song, like the big songs are so daunting.
Right. And this is the first big hit that we've tackled together. Outside of you doing literally the band's biggest song on your own. So you needed to do some preparation. So at some point you put this song, I guess, in a spreadsheet. You sent it to me at like midnight last night when I was also looking at a screen instead of, reading a book or trying to sleep. And it's
Right.
this extensive article where the author, a writer for Atlas Obscura, whose name escapes me and we should credit,
Dan Nosowitz.
thank you, Dan Nosowitz, brings the works of Blink, but Tom in particular, to a linguistics professor or a linguist to try to understand the mechanics of pop punk voice. But it becomes much more of an exploration of just like how Tom speaks. and sings.
This is honestly a very, very well done article.
It's amazing. It really is an amazing article. And
Yeah.
you didn't you say you didn't read it? Like you didn't do the
No, like
homework
I've read like 1/3 of it, and I'm like, yeah, this is a really good article. That's all you need to do. Just like read enough to be like, yeah, this is good. I respect it.
All you
Time
need to do
go
is
back
really
on Twitter.
read the headline and say, yes, this is reflective of the type of personality that I'm trying to project into the internet, and then just retweet it.
Yeah,
That's
hit
all
share.
you need to do.
No one ever clicks it. Honestly, like the amount, you should see the metrics of like when something gets like 100 retweets, the click through rate is like pathetic.
Yeah, the world is
And
shit.
people complain about clickbait, you know? But like, what else are you supposed to do?
Just bait, man. That's all it is now.
Baiting.
Just
Yeah.
bait.
So this article is very like I can tell, and I even just scrolling, even just looking at the pictures, which is all I really do. You can tell this is like this dude's on our level. Like there's a picture of Johnny Rotten in here and Avril Lavigne. This is an article that's like about the pod, basically.
Yeah, totally. And it's sort of this exploration of how the Californian dialect developed. And so what I found very interesting is this idea that like most regional accents are about the way that we pronounce the vowels. Because ultimately, like even the way the human brain, I guess, perceives language is that like vowels are kind of just the way we get between the consonants. I mean, that I know it's fucking obvious, but that for the most part, it doesn't really matter what sound you make. Like if you make an A sound or an O sound or an A sound between, you know, C and a T, it's all kind of going to sound like cat. Like, you know what I mean? If I say, oh, I saw a cat, I saw a cat, I saw a cat, you'd be like, it's a cat. It's fine. Doesn't matter where the fuck you're from. And so how the California dialect has kind of evolved as compared to just sort of like an Eastern Seaboard, like say New York, New Jersey dialect, how similar that is to the Canadian accent. And there's this particular sort of trick or sort of, I don't know, method of sort of understanding regional dialects where they call it the caught problem, where one of the words is caught, like C-O-T, I guess like a cot you'd sleep on in a hotel, and one of them is caught, like C-A-U-G-H-T, like you were been caught stealing, Jade's Addiction style.
Right.
And that they were like, Californians pronounce those two words the same. And I was like, yeah, those words are pronounced the same. But I guess that's a Canadian thing as well, caught. And I
So how would other people pronounce that?
I guess caught and caught? I honestly can't even imagine pronouncing those words any other way.
Yeah.
And that Tom has this like incredibly pronounced version of a California accent, and the like linguistics professor like can't figure it out. Basically,
the California accent is called the California shift, is what they're calling it in this article, which is so cool. And that's probably like definitely like some fucking dumbass will name their band that.
Yeah.
But it is almost a good band name. Almost.
It's so close to being a good band name, except that it's definitely not. Please don't name your band the California Shift.
So there's a few examples here that show it even better. Like kit becomes ket, dress becomes drass, and trap becomes trop.
Yeah, that
And
I
so
don't get.
The California accent is sometimes called trap backing or trop balking. Your mouth functions like a resonating chamber. You alter the frequencies of sounds you make by changing the size of the chamber and by moving your tongue around. I mean, this is just like crazy. But then what I noticed that was great was that Eckert, I don't know the first name, but this is the linguist who did it. This quote is just like the kind of shit that I feel like this is like very podcasty of us to do this. You know, this is the sort of thing that like someone hears on a podcast and then just takes it as gospel and then acts like a know-it-all at a party. So just remember this part and then you'll seem like a know-it-all. When they say to pick you up on your very first date, the interesting thing about date is that he renders it as a monophthong, date, instead of date. In most American English, it's a diphthong. A diphthong is a vowel sound with two simpler sounds in it. For most Americans, date is a kind of compound vowel made up of the A sound and the E sound. Not so much for Tom DeLonge, who eliminates all but the A, making it a single sound or a monophthong. And then Eckert goes on to say that it's more of a Chicano English thing, not Anglo English. So it's people of Mexican descent who sort of have learned English.
No,
not a
in
Mexican.
that context, I think the way they're so Chicano English in this linguistic context is people of Mexican descent where English is their first language. But
Right,
It's
right,
like
right.
a-
Okay,
it's-
sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so it's sort of reverse but in the sense that there's like certain linguistic tics that are sort of adopted within those communities that that are that sort of dialect that you were describing.
So is that I'm guessing that must be the SoCal influence for Tom.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if you think of like, San Diego is like, very close to Mexico. So I don't know. There's probably some people using the Chicano English accent. That was so like proper podcasty. I'm honestly not even sure where to go from there. Like,
But
you
was
just
there
being
anything
like
else that-
mono phones.
thing.
Yeah, it's like Jesus Christ, man. It's
Did
amazing.
did you glean anything else from the article?
I mean, mostly it just sort of blew my mind. It was interesting to see how the same Eckert, the linguistics prof, which is great because he sounds like a movie character, was also sort of attributed part of Tom's speech pattern to just being around or part of a sort of like surfer skater subculture. And so, and this is obviously true because of course, like you pick up sort of slang and just sort of ways of pronouncing words from your community, people you hang out with, and that community can be, skaters. It can be related to an ethnicity or an ethnic identity. It can be kind of any of those things. It can be purely regional. So this idea that like what Tom is doing is sort of some combination of the California shift, the influence of Chicano English, which in the content of the article, they sort of say, yeah, there are some people that just try to like adopt that way of speaking because they think it's cool, which it makes sense. And then added to that, this like surfer skater influence, which is very Southern California. And you get this sort of hodgepodge of things that are both extremely regional, but also like very much kind of rooted in chosen community. And that's where like, let's go comes from is
Yeah.
like fucking fascinating. And so we'll definitely put this article in the description because it's like, it's a great
It's really, really
read.
good.
Yeah. Well, you've read a third of it.
Yeah, but I also I was gonna add because I do have a good way of like scrolling and just reading paragraphs that seem good that would make me seem smart. And Christopher Applegren from Lookout Records, I really liked what he said as well, which is that in general pop punk singing, this is what he said. I think it can be a more nasal way of singing, which really lends itself to punk to rise above the din of music and cut through. You can look to Johnny Rotten's Sneer, which was certainly a huge influence. That's a trick you can employ if you don't have a real singing voice. Like, I just think of, like, trying to mix home recordings, and if everything is sort of in the same frequency, it's impossible to get, like, certain instruments or voices to cut through.
Yeah.
And so it kind of makes sense that if you're just, like, in a garage playing a bunch of loud Marshall amps with your friends, you're not going to have a good PA, so you're going to try to, like, break through the din. And that might also be where the nasal pop punk voice came from.
Well, and it also pulls out a great quote from Billy Joe Armstrong that I think it attributes to a Rolling Stone interview in 1994, where Billy Joe Armstrong is basically saying that he's an American doing a British accent, doing an American accent, which I guess is sort of his interpretation of kind of Joe Strummer trying to mimic sort of American singers. And that's extremely true. So if all you're doing is constantly like a copy of a copy of a copy, you're going to end up with some very strange way of singing. And another thing that I thought was so fascinating in that article is the way that people don't necessarily even consciously realize that they are adopting someone else's way of singing, but especially in early rock and roll, which like, or let me sort of be more specific, early sort of like white rock and roll, you had these singers like Elvis who were copying sort of early kind of African-American blues and rock and roll where people would sort of drop the R, and that was sort of part of that sort of dialect and that sort of regional, community sort of way of speaking and singing. And so you'll hear like Elvis in interviews will use hard R's on words like car
Don't
or
say it.
fear. I mean, we're like 50 minutes into the podcast now. It's fine.
It's true.
So you get this hard R on words like sort of car or fear, but then when Elvis sings, he does not use a hard R because he's consciously or sort of just unconsciously mimicking these like African American bluesmen and rock and roll singers, and that the inverse is true of some English groups who are trying to mimic Americans. So if you listen to like, you know, like it uses a specific Led Zeppelin song, and who the fuck knows, because fuck Led Zeppelin, but like that Robert Plant has these songs where he like digs in super hard on his R's, which is like not an English way of speaking, but is very American, and it was like their attempt at mimicking, in their mind, American blues singers. And so you just end up with this like, so by the time you get to Green Day, and then by the time you get to Blink, you have all of these different influences, and you just end up singing like fucking Tom, I guess. Like Tom is like the distorted, like the Shaq with his eyes glowing meme, like just like fucking pixelated, and the colors make no fucking sense.
Although I do think that Billy Joe Armstrong and Tom DeLonge kind of are, and I'm sure I'm wrong, and someone's going to be like, oh, what about this? But in my mind, they are sort of like the benchmark or the originator of this nasal pop punk voice. That, like, I feel like they're not, even though they're mimicking, like, a carbon copy of a photocopy of whatever, it does feel like they are also paving the way for this kind of voice a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really comfortable staking out that claim, because I'm sure there's some like proper
Punisher.
and there's proper like early pop punk, but it does feel like the like snotty nasal pop punk voice is very much a 90s invention, because even if you look at like power pop groups, it's not like the Nerves had like nasal voices, or you know, like the Descendants wasn't like really nasal.
Yeah, and then the other thing is when you listen to Tom talk, and I guess Fat Mike is another person who like is a big nasalman, but when you listen to both of those guys talk, they kind of talk like what their singing voice sounds like, or at least they did. Like Tom, maybe his voice has gone through a lot of shifts, and maybe one day we'll understand why. But he does talk how he sings, kind of.
Yeah, and that's, again, I think we may have literally talked about this last week. That's where I think there's this like very important defining line between like the Chuck Reagan voice is an obvious one to me, because that's just like the bands that I spend a lot of time with, but like people imitating something, or very much just sort of working within their own limitations and finding a way to like express themselves despite it. And like Tom is absolutely that, because like when Tom, you can fully identify Tom's speaking voice and Tom's singing voice. Like even in that horrid fucking, pardon me, live video, just enjoying some Blood Brothers over here. Even in that horrid live video, you know, like that guy is still the same guy that got up on stage and was like, I've recently launched a foundation with members of the CIA. Like it's the same fucking voice, man.
But if anything, that version of him sounds more put on, where he's trying to not be.
Yeah,
like
totally. It's super interesting. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that like, and same with like Billy Joe Armstrong. Like the guy kind of like sings fucking weird and like shit, but that's how he talks too.
Yeah, they're just like they have shitty voices and they suck.
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% where we've landed on this.
Man, it would be. I feel like if you were a linguistics professor, you would know too much, and you would just. It's like when you say a word too many times, and then you can't say it anymore.
I know. There's so much stuff in that article about just like the way your tongue moves around to create certain sounds, and how that's influenced by like where you're born. And I just think like I would hate to constantly be thinking about someone's tongue when I was talking to them. But if that's your job,
I'm always thinking. Whenever you talk, I'm like, what that tongue do?
yeah.
Okay, well let's. Also, this doesn't happen very often where there's an actual like music video to talk about, because we're usually doing like fucking stupid 30-second bullshit songs. Let's talk about the fucking music video.
Let's do it, man. So I didn't know it was shot in Canada, so shout out to Sarah for already sort of revealing some secrets here.
Yeah, this was shot in BC. It was shot
Why?
in Tsawwassen, another linguistic problem, and also somewhere else that I didn't write down because I thought I would remember, but I don't remember. Oh, I think it was mostly Burnaby and Tsawwassen, which is like, I only really know Tsawwassen for like being where you go to catch the ferry.
So I'm looking forward to figuring out why, but I kind of want to get this out of the way right off the bat, because this is like really kind of what I wanted to say right when we came out of the intro, which is like, I fucking hate this song. I'm looking forward to the covers because maybe we'll find a way to redeem it, but just like, it's not for me, and that's okay. But this fucking music video is like so great and perfectly executed that it almost saves the song. And I kind of can't believe how it so successfully predates a much more hack version of Nostalgia for this era, and the way it looks, like it's 4:3. It's like all this shit that, like, if this video came out today, I'd be like, okay, fucking, I've seen it. But no one was actually doing like this, like, you know, Dazed and Confused fucking tribute vibe at this time that I can recall. And now it's
I guess-
everywhere.
To me, I thought that maybe this was somewhat influenced by that '70s show, possibly. But I do think, yeah, it was definitely like ahead of its time to be like this. And yeah, it actually seems almost like douchey now, but it's not. Like, it's like back then, because I could just picture like this is like what every like jock wears to like a Halloween party now. You
I
what
know,
mean?
yeah.
But at
And,
the time, yeah, it's like so good. I thought you were gonna say, because I know that mostly what you love is the GIF.
Oh my god, I think I've said this to you. Yeah, like the fucking boomer what the fuck gif is, I mean, first of all, it's the only good Blink-182 gif, but I would say this is like one of the top 5 gifs. Like,
Yeah, I think so, too.
It's fucking flawless. Like, it is a perfect what the fuck. Everything about it is just like, it's succinct. There's nothing in it that doesn't say what the fuck. There's no sort of like extraneous pieces that aren't like leaving you sort of wondering what the fuck. Like, it's so consistent, and I respect it endlessly.
I feel like also like lanky Tom lends himself so well to that look that it just makes it so
Yeah,
next level. I feel
totally.
like they could have literally like pitched a TV show about this character.
Yeah, totally. And I love so much that the like Travis character is named Travis, but that but then Marcus
Yeah.
Spaulding, who I feel like I forgot that Spaulding was a character. Like, I don't think Spaulding has really had any longevity in the Blinkoverse, but
No.
like Boomer feels like Boomer is a real part of the Blink universe, right?
Yeah, and also, I mean, we won't play it right now, but just I feel like I just need to like rattle off facts, or else people are gonna get mad. You know?
Okay.
Like, so that's why these songs are not fun. But I'm not gonna rattle off a bunch right now because they're all very disorganized in this text edit document. But I was gonna say I think the Boomer character started off as Mark, because if you'll remember one of those Australian talk shows where they played Dude Ranch songs, there's a video where Mark is wearing the Boomer outfit, like in the Dude Ranch era.
Oh
So
yeah.
I feel like the early seed of that character, Mark, was Boomer.
So do you think there was that maybe also the beginning of the conflict between the two of them? Was that like Tom knew that like Boomer was destined for greatness and that Spaulding was ultimately like only a supporting character?
Well, there is this Mark interview with Rock Sound from 2017, so like way past Tom leaving, where he gives a brief history of the video. I'm going to play it. He's very generous to Tom here, so it's nice. It's nice to hear. So here we go.
First date was a lot of fun to film. We were on tour at the time. We were in Canada. Had a couple days off, and that video was totally Tom's idea. He had this idea of doing like Dazed and Confused inspired video, 70s. And we shot it at a water park up in Canada, and basically just fucked around and rode water slides for 2 days. It was great. We were on tour with Newfound Glory at the time, so those guys, Jordan and Chad from Newfound Glory, were in the video. And it was a good way to spend a summer vacation. Summer vacation being 2 days.
That's another thing that most people don't catch, is that Chad Gilbert and Jordan Pundik are in the video.
So who are they in the video?
Oh God,
That's fine. You don't have to watch it.
Down.
It's probably for the best that like
It's like
it was
the
those
baseball-
two guys and not like the fucking pedo, not the sex pest in Newfound Glory.
Yeah, exactly. But why wouldn't it have been that other guy with the guy, the zany guy?
Oh yeah, because this seems like it's really custom built for the zany guy.
Yeah, no one knows that guy's name.
No, there's Paramore's husband. There's
They broke up also,
did they?
but yeah.
That's too bad for him.
And he had previously been married to someone from, oh fuck, what are they called? He was married to someone from a Christian band, anyways. And then he broke up with her for the Paramore lady, and then they broke up.
Oh, Haley
It's
Williams.
really,
That's who she is. Yeah.
Haley Williams, yeah. I've never really gotten into Paramore, but I feel like I should at some point.
They got one song that's in like Rock Band, and that song's pretty good. But that's
Well, hey, let me drop you another little factoid. First date, somewhat ironically, is for some reason in the video game Guitar Hero Van Halen, despite it being such a like.
is it like how
It's
you
very
like
easy to
learn how to
play.
use the game or something? Like
You would think so, right? So, but here's my favorite discovery. Talking back to the music video.
Yeah.
We've talked about the cameos. I'm hoping that you know who the fuck this guy is. So there's like a zany guy that's running the water slides in the video. And he's
Yeah.
like pushing people down.
he kind of looks
And-
like Milo, like Yabba Dabba Doopopolis a little bit. I hope I'm gonna regret that.
Well, you didn't say it, so I don't think they'll quote you. His name is Rene. And he is my new favorite person. I don't even know how to explain him to you. I think you should read his bio and look at his IMDb first.
Okay,
So, this is from Last FM. Who is Rene? He's a dude more colorful than a Rubik's Cube and just as hard to figure out. A man with multiple talents and personalities, Rene can best be summed up in one word: entertaining. He's a musician, poet, painter, and cowboy. He's an 80s skier or even a jet-setting playboy. But most importantly, he's a person who walks in the door and lights up an area with fun and excitement. So he's like a native Canadian guy. He's like a
wait, are they
skateboarder.
saying he's because the way they've written this is a native Canadian, Rene, but native isn't capitalized? So are they saying
No, he's white. He's like a native, like he's born in
born
Canada.
in Canada? Right? Okay.
But then look at his IMDb. Look at this. He's in a movie from 1999 called Limp, and the poster for it is like just in Comic Sans and not centered. And he's also in like 3 movies that are about like horny ski vacations.
He's in so many like movies that are not quite ski school.
So I'm trying to understand because this tour was X Fest. I'm wondering if Rene was trying to launch a music career, and that's why he was around.
Right.
But whatever happened, somehow he sweet talked his way into getting a Mark Hoppus guest spot on one of his truly horrendous songs.
Hell yes.
So this is like a deep cut in the Mark Hoppus guest universe. It's kind of like this is like every bad local rap video that I've ever seen on YouTube. This is like kind of one of my favorite genres when I'm with my friends.
Yeah.
In fact, we'll have to play this on the stream maybe. But yeah, let's just listen to it and we'll talk about the video after.
Just run it high. We've been writing on the wall, precious paper, all the pages fall apart. I just can't shake it from my head, and all the things you said, they only break my heart. Step out of your comfort and into your fears. Jumping through windows, sucking up tears. Reason with knowledge, changing the gears. Remember, be honest, forget all those years. I see what I say what I see. Does everything seem so different to me? I saw what I said what I saw. Coming in different, just running it high.
Wow.
I mean, that's the guy who's the lifeguard in the first date video. And I found this on the Reddit, and people were like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about Rene." So that made me think, like, is this someone that I don't? Is this like Kazzer or something?
Right. I don't know. I don't think so, man. Like, that song doesn't have enough views to be Kazzer. I also found his LinkedIn. I think he was just like a skater dude. Like, he's from Vancouver. He looks like
This was published in 2008. This music video, and he's dressed like he's dressed like if Riff Raff lived at a garbage dump. I think.
Right. Yeah, it looks like he must have just been a skater because he like has on his LinkedIn only his name and then like DC Shoes and his name and Hurley, and now he's just like listed as basically being like a grip on various films and stuff. So like I think he's just like, yeah, he's just like a skater dude.
So, I mean, I'm just so perplexed.
I'm looking at his fucking Instagram now. He kind of seems like a real good time. Should we get this dude on the pod?
Maybe we should, to understand how this song. Maybe we should do a exclusive on Renee Paper Dolls featuring Mark Hoppus.
We definitely should because he is absolutely active. He just posted on Instagram an hour ago.
Oh my god!
And he just like looks like kind of a fun fucking freak.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like blown away by him. He blows my mind.
Yeah.
He's really has like maintained this like thrift store riffraff look. He kind of maybe riffraff like stole some of his vibe.
Maybe, yeah. Instead of like Riff Raff is suing, like James Franco and Harmony Korine, maybe like he should sue because he is extremely Riff Raff looking.
Yeah, like a dumpier riffraff.
And he has like a big gold chain that says RR on it, which like I don't know,
Does
guys.
Mark Hoppus just like say yes to every guest spot? Like, could we do a song featuring Mark Hoppus?
Yo, we should definitely start a band. Blink-155.
Blink-155. That's just what it's called.
Yeah, just keep it simple. And just get him to come in. Like, he's like Snoop Dogg. You know, like Snoop, the whole deal with Snoop is like, if you have enough money, Snoop will do a guest verse on anything.
Right.
So the only deal is I think you have to like pay him in cash. But like there is like no way that Snoop says no to doing a guest verse. And it's why he like appears like from time to time you'll be like, Snoop did like a song with some like random Canadian pop rock band. And it's because they just gave him like $20,000 or whatever.
So maybe Renee was offered to be the lifeguard for free in exchange for Mark to boost up this single Paper Dolls.
Right, exactly. Because they were like, oh, we need this lifeguard character is so important. And he was willing to sort of offer his skills. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm so confused and upset.
Well, we're definitely going to get Renee on the pod so he can kind of explain whatever's been happening.
And then finally with the video, I just wanted to point out, somebody had shared this. They actually released like a promo sticker of the bumper sticker from the van in the video. So, I mean, that's like the coolest rare Blink merch. It says ask gas or grass, and no one rides for free, the classic thing, but then it says Blink-182 on the bottom.
That's actually sick. Does the sticker in the video have Blink-182 on it, or they've just
No,
like,
it doesn't. Yeah, they just recreated it exactly.
That's awesome.
As a promo.
So do you not like the video? Like, does the video make you feel like, does it give you just like Chongo vibes?
Not really. I've actually never watched the whole video. I think it was like around at a time where, you didn't have it on YouTube, so you would just catch little bits and pieces of it here and there. I never watched it all the way through till today. It's pretty good. I guess I just feel like they set up scenes that look really good, but then nothing really, like there's not enough plot almost. It's like a bunch of vignettes and sketches that don't really have anything happen. Like a girl falls off her bike and lands on her braces, and then they all flip her off, and I don't really know why. They're just like,
'Cause
I
she's
had
a
more
dork.
questions. Yeah, I guess.
She's not
don't
deserving
know.
of their male affection.
I just feel like it could have had if they could have just added a couple like just for laughs gags style.
Like
Japes.
two cops start kissing or whatever.
Yeah, the cop is actually wearing lingerie.
That sounds sick. Yeah, exactly. The pylon has like a little person in it or whatever.
No, I do like it though, and I respect it. I think it's weird how much effort they used to put into videos, and now their new videos are like pretty fucking awful.
Yeah, I mean, I just think like they actually like look funny. I like there's like subtle touches in it. Like Boomer's got the white shorts on, but they're really dirty at the front. Like he's just been like wiping his hands off on them a lot. And also as they're sort of entering the practice space, there's like a little bit of dialogue before the song starts, and it's just Tom talking about how he like made out with his dad. Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah, and then
Like at the start of the
there's some
video-
or his brother, and then
Yeah.
Mark Hoppus says, you know what they say, like father, like son, and then Tom says, you said it best, brother. There's like this whole circular incest thing that fits the era.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, I like that because it at least injects sort of some element of their personality into what is otherwise like a song that is devoid of charm and personality.
And you're totally right. It absolutely boosts the song up like so many points. It's crazy.
I just think like Tom's performance in it is consistently very funny. Like all of the mugging that he does playing guitar, all of the sort of like the what the fuck gif is the sort of peak of his performance, and it's why it's been sort of enshrined by the internet. But in general, like that's just sort of part and parcel of what is top to bottom, I think, his greatest non-musical performance.
I think you're right. Yeah. He actually brought back the character. I'm trying to find it in all my fucking notes. Maybe I didn't save it, but he brought back the character in like a very terrible Macbeth Shoes promo video.
I was hoping it was going to be like in
like
a,
later on.
in a like To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences where he's like,
Basically, I mean, it's weird too how it's easy to forget about all these shitty fucking brands that he's had because he's now just like an alien guy, but he's really been like shilling so much different stuff for so long. But yeah, this is from like 2011, I guess.
like just the thumbnail alone looks so sad because he looks so fucking haggard.
I know. I think it's just audio in here, but he just like, oh, it says Boomer is back.
Getting in shape for the new Blink 182 album.
It's just him like creepily walking around a gym, like spying on people and looking at their private parts and stuff.
And to be honest, looking so dramatically older.
Yeah, exactly. Not to mention, was this to promote? I'm trying to think of the timing. Yeah, this must have been they were promoting Neighborhoods with some sort of Macbeth thing, but like Neighborhoods is very much not a Boomer kind of project.
But I guess, you know, you got to recognize like when you've got something that people care about, you know?
Yeah, or just when you're trying to milk it to sell your ugly ass skate shoes.
It's true. They're not great shoes.
I don't know. All right. I think we should segue into covers.
Because there's a lot, right?
There's a lot. But before we do that, I think this might be somebody that we've featured before because the voice is very similar. But I found it on YouTube, not SoundCloud. I didn't have time to go back and check. But I found a parody song. And I think this might be that person. Remember there was that parody, that guy who was just like so mad about his neighbors being loud? And every song was about that?
Oh, yeah. Is it that guy?
The voice, I don't know. The voice is really similar. But this is Never Waver Parodies. This is from May 7th, 2018. So I have a feeling that this person just came back and started doing this. This is called First Date with Alien. So it's very thematically good. Yeah. So here, let's listen to this parody.
I just can't wait to pick you up on our very first date. Is it cool if I hold your hand? Is it wrong if I think it's alien? Do you like my website's flair? Would you like a koozie or a shirt to wear? I'm just scared because you might read. You make me nervous, so I guess I won't speak. Let's go, don't wait. This night's almost over. Honest, let's make this night too stellar forever.
Well, you missed his fucking alien Tom DeLonge Blink-182 Fuck a Dog parody, which unfortunately I do think we need to listen to now. I also
Doesn't that voice sound familiar?
I can
that voice
imagine
sound
that guy
familiar?
complaining. They think it's okay to make noise all night.
Yeah,
Oh, was
I
that what
think
it was?
it's
Was
the
it
same-
Up All Night?
Oh, maybe, yeah, maybe it was. But I feel like he's rebranded his account to be on
Well, this is interesting.
on
So
YouTube.
I couldn't help but notice in that video, there's a few stills of what I assumed was him driving in his car, and you can see the 401 turnoff for London, Ontario. And so I thought, does this guy live near me? And it turns out he does, because according to the Twitter account for Never Waver Parodies, he is from London, Ontario, which is about 3 hours west of Toronto. And the account has been suspended, unfortunately. It's not deleted, but suspended. And I can't help but wonder if it has anything to do with one of his parodies that was uploaded in March of this year, Alphabet, a cover of Taylor Swift, a parody of Taylor Swift's Delicate, where I don't know what the song possibly could be, but the thumbnail is definitely Justin Trudeau in a hijab. So I just like...
Well, yeah, okay. I just found it because it was up all night, and the complaining about the neighbors was under the account Parody 101, and it's Parody Guy. I make parody songs spoofing popular songs throughout history. My name is Donald Trump. And this stopped 2 months ago, and these seem to have started in May. So I feel like we found the same guy again.
I think so. I think this
Okay, let's hear fucking Alien. I guess it still is joke season after all.
I'm
This is jokes
sorry to say.
within jokes.
I wanna fuck
The alien.
in the ass.
An alien.
In the ass. I wanna fuck it.
An alien.
That's right, kids. I tried to fuck your mom in the ass. Tried to fuck your dad in the ass. Could only find the
Alien.
Really, really good.
Honestly, never waver parodies. You've got a good thing going here. Another one of their parodies, That's My Alien, which is a parody of What's My Age Again. They're just like...
Well, okay, see, that's what the spreadsheet's for. I can add that to the spreadsheet, and then when we get to that, we'll never have to worry about it.
Oh, you missed All the Earthlings, which is a parody of all the small things that he did.
Now, maybe the timeline's off because one of these is from 10 months ago, that I Miss You parody, whereas Parody 101 is from 2 months ago.
Well, maybe this was like him trying to kind of launch like a much more focused career, because clearly all of these parodies are dialed into to Tom and the Alien thing. Like he was like, this is going to be how I make my millions. I just want to know why his Twitter account got suspended. Like, I'm very curious.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, if he lives by you, you can go find him.
Yeah, okay. I'm just going to drive to London, Ontario. Actually, London, Ontario is the site of next year's Juno Awards. So perhaps, again, just to sort of continue...
You can get him to co-host the backstage interviews that you do.
Yeah.
He could spoof all the songs.
Yeah, exactly. I want all the Marianas Trench songs just spoofed to be about Tom and aliens. And Justin Trudeau, and I mean, I don't know what the hijab thing is supposed to mean in this context, so I'll maybe let him explain it to me.
All right, well, one more thing before covers proper. I'm afraid that I've played this before, but I don't think I have. But this popped up just through searching the song title. It is I want to say grindcore band. Are they grindcore?
I mean, the logo looks pretty grindcore.
Yeah, God Stomper. I guess they call themselves West Coast Noise Violence DIY Fuck Corporate Hardcore. And they have a song from their split tape with Rob Halford, and it's called Blink 182 is Dead. Unfortunately, they didn't include the lyrics, but I think it's worth playing. The length alone makes it worthwhile. So here's Blink 182 is Dead from God Stomper.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I mean, look, we've all heard Stormtroopers of Death. Like, that's just literally a Stormtroopers of Death joke. So it's fine, but you know.
Well, at least it's about the pod.
Yeah, no, that's
and then
good.
There was actually one more thing. I literally have so many notes. This is a fucking nightmare.
I don't know how you did all the small things on your own. Like, it's funny how
It was easier because I just kept pausing.
Right. Well, if you want, I can monologue for a second, which is...
No, I found what I was looking for.
Oh.
So No one gives a shit about what you have to say, Sam.
It's okay.
No, I thought this was a cover, but it's actually just like a very nice like song called Blink-182 First Date Ziffstock 2015, and it's by Edith, King Prince, which is like this indie acoustic folk artist from Philly, and it's just a song like it's just called that because this person has another song called Best of Kate Bush, another song called Defend Pop Skunk. So I thought, well, this is an original song, presumably about Blink-182's First Date. May as well give it a spin.
Yeah, hell yeah. It was lovely.
It's another linguistic anomaly is like the folk voice, I think.
Yeah. I want to just like bring a cunning linguist onto the pod every week to really just dissect the various.
To eat you out. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
Seamlessly into covers from where we just left off.
So smooth.
Talking now.
Yeah.
Hasn't been a 5-hour marathon night.
No. This has been flawless, as we will reveal later just how perfect it was.
Yeah. We actually record the pod quicker and talk a little bit higher and then slow it down.
Right. A lot of people have said that they listen to the podcast on, 1.5, sometimes 2 times speed, and this is like a sort of real pod addict thing.
But that's the speed with which we actually record it. That's how quickly we talk, but then we slow it down for the normie ears.
Exactly. But if you're listening to the podcast at 2 times speed, that's literally how we record the pod. So congrats to you. You're a true head. You probably listen to vinyl. You like hearing records how they were meant to sound.
Vinyls, yeah.
Vinyls, yeah. So yeah, you are better than other people, is what I'm saying. So covers. Let's not.
So the first of all the covers that I've bragged about writing down,
Yeah.
the one that I want to start with.
Can I ask you a question before we start?
Uh-huh.
Because up until now, the Adam song covers were the most surprising and transformative for me.
Uh-huh.
To the point where I've continually hammered on the idea of doing an Adam song, all Adam song DJ night that I know you don't want to do, but I just figure if I say it enough, like I'll will it into existence.
Uh-huh.
How do you feel like this is going to stack up to that? Honestly.
There are 14 just EDM alone covers that I've written down.
Okay, cool.
So I think, yeah, I mean, there's only one way to find out, my friend, and that is to dive right in. But the first one is the one that I didn't bother lining up, but it is the most important. Have you ever heard of a young man named Harry Styles?
No, if you could sort of... Oh, no, this is the guy, he was in
Well, there's that thing.
Dunkirk.
There's a thing called hairstyles, which is how you do your hair.
Right?
And then just had a
You
real
don't have-
existential crisis while I was talking. Just like a general feeling of down.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Harry Styles, before he was in One Direction and on The X Factor, he was in a band with his teen mates, that's what they call friends over there, mates.
Okay, yeah.
And they, I don't know, I feel like definitely their band name is probably not a great band name. They're called White Eskimo.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about it to know that it's to know for certain, but I just know that I wouldn't call my band that.
You might not have to
Probably.
know a lot to know that that's not great.
Yeah, it's pretty much right on the front, but there's multiple videos of them at house parties, and they would always cover Summer of '69 and First Date.
Can I
So-
ask a question before we get into this? Because I know how long this is going to be, and so I don't feel bad about stopping the proceedings. Do you think that, like, I guess it's English people and Australians that say mates, right? That's sort of, it's like those types. Is that fair?
Well, as someone who says cheers to me literally every time we stop recording, do you not say mate? I mean, do
I
cheersmen say mate?
Cheersmen don't say mate. I've also stopped saying cheers because it made me feel so bad about it.
I think you did last week, or I don't know. Your wife was actually wife of the pod, Ashley, was making fun of you about it to me.
I know.
On chat.
Fuck off. God damn it. Okay, I get no peace. So why is that the slang? And my question is it because it's a sort of tacit acknowledgement by English people and Australians that ultimately you want to fuck all your friends? And that's why you hang out together. That all human relationships are
right.
innately kind of sexual. And so, because when I think of a mate, I think of someone that you mate with. Like, it's just because I have a very literal, terrible mind. And so I just wonder if it's like, oh, me and my mates. It's just like, hey, we all want to fuck. Get, big old fur pile.
Well, isn't mating also like in reference to procreation? So they want to have sex with their friends without any pleasure, simply for the act of procreation. So
Yeah.
it's very like fundamentalist Christian attitude towards wanting to fuck everyone.
Exactly. And in that sense, it's an acknowledgement that every drop of Dude Ranch is quite precious.
Precisely. So let's listen to Harry Styles cover this with his
Racist
early
fucking
band.
teenage band, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like teens playing in the song, but I think this really does. The reason it's important is because we've already talked about the beautiful irony of, well, I guess only I have talked about it. That's why this is so familiar. Only I have talked about this. But the beautiful irony of All the Small Things video, how it ended up actually being shot in the same location as One Direction's You Don't Know You're Beautiful video. And just how everything is full circle, making fun of boy bands, and now they share producers and video locations and everything.
Well, it's also an interesting sort of reminder for me that there is absolutely no difference between people who become famous beyond our sort of feeble, mortal understanding of fame and just like normal people. Because that's like a perfectly fine video of some teens covering First Date. But you can't watch that and think like that person is destined to one day star in a very good World War II plane movie.
Yeah.
Like there's just no
I don't know.
indication. There's no fucking way you would ever know.
I mean, even through the pixelation and the shitty, like, constantly switching perspectives on the camera, his hair is, like, so tousled and messy, and you can almost see his dimples through there, and you're like, this guy is fucking a dreamboat.
I think you're projecting
In that
those
sense.
dimples. You could not see. This is like shot on a fucking Nokia Razor. There's no dimples in this.
Yeah, you're probably right.
What are the rest of these guys up to though? Like, what is it like to be the dudes that like? What's it like to be the guy that used to play bass?
In White Eskimo. Oh, that is a kind of dog, I guess. Still not a good band name.
Yeah, just don't.
White Eskimo, the band that Harry Styles left behind, are aiming for the big time. The punk pop band released their first EP, and this is in 2015. Reported in the Manchester Evening News.
Ah, Manchester.
You can see the rest of these lads. There's a photo gallery of them. Just like I mean, these are the guys where you're like, oh yeah, these guys are not going to be famous.
No, yeah, none of these people look like they should be famous. Also, I feel like sharing photos of Harry Styles' old pop punk band is a true, the podcast is not a visual medium, kind of like, let's move along moment.
Oh, you asked the question.
I did. I'm sorry.
So, yeah, that was that. So Harry Styles, and it's weird too because Harry Styles is now like one of the guys responsible for like bringing the 70s back in a very 90s way. Like, you know how the 90s are back, but really that just means the 70s are back? And I feel like he's a big part of that.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I haven't followed Harry Styles' career that closely. What you're saying sounds correct to me based on having seen him on SNL like once.
Well, let's go to Indonesia then.
Oh, yes.
So this band popped up actually on a other recent episode. I feel like this is what I was saying earlier. Like, all of my timelines and like hours of my life have merged, and now I can't tell like if I've already seen something or not. But I've definitely, the name Pee Wee Gaskins has popped up recently for some reason. Maybe it was when I was Googling Indonesia stuff.
Yeah, because it doesn't
Indonesia
sound
season.
familiar to me, but someone's going to tell us that they like. We talked about this for 2 hours last week.
Yeah, or like someone tweeted it at us and we didn't remember their at. Who gives a fuck?
Wow.
Pee Wee Gaskins, this is live Breakout Net TV Indonesia. Uploaded by this is one full word, Blink 182, and then the other word is Fans Indonesia. So that's the kind of account that I think probably rocks ass.
It's a very Josiah type account, to be honest.
I'm going to change my name to that, actually.
Yeah. I mean, look, you're a fan of Indonesia. You have an entire Blink 182 podcast.
Exactly. Okay, here's Pee Wee Gaskins.
In the car, I just can't wait to pick you up on our very first date. Is it cool if I hold your hand? Is it wrong if I think it's lame to dance? Do you like my stupid hair? Would you guess that I don't know what to wear? I'm scared of what you think. You make me nervous, so I really can't eat. So let's go. Don't wait. This night's almost over.
I mean, that was great. That's why it's like always kind of quietly Indonesia season.
Yeah, and I think this, when I was watching these, I did start to appreciate this. That might be why I liked the song a bit more at first, because when it's one of those songs that's like so simple that then it becomes a standard, and then, I don't know, doing this weird like youth group setup, like that dude was like sitting on the stage, and it was all acoustic guitars and piano, and it just felt so like youth group. It's so innocent.
Yeah, it's also, I already know, like, I already can feel this sort of just thing building inside me, which is that the thing that's great about pop music, and this is to totally undercut my point from earlier about how actual pop music, like, because most people are dumb, so therefore the things that most people like are dumb, and therefore pop music, which is a popular thing, is mostly dumb. But, like, there's such a fucking beauty in these things that, like, connect people like on a scale that like is impossible to just sort of comprehend. And I already know, like, now I'm like, oh, First Date fucking rules. Like, I was like, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm there. Like, it's fine. Like it's a
You're
song
already
that,
there.
yeah. Now I'm gonna spend 90 minutes like falling in love with First Date. So great.
Yeah, well, keeping it in Indonesia and keeping it very adorable. This is Super Kids. So Super Kids is all one word with a Z. And they've been performing in Indonesia since 2008. This was uploaded in 2011, and these are like literally kids. Like,
Yeah, these are
like
children.
kids. Like, I don't know. I would say like maybe 9 or 10.
I was gonna say the drummer looks 8, but with the dexterity of a child much older.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's amazing. He is to drumming what those like when you see videos of like children smoking cigarettes. Or whatever. Like, he like looks way
Well,
too
you're like,
adult
how's that
when he
kid
drums.
drumming so effectively? Because he looks so young.
He's like tiny. Okay,
But
this is what
he's
Super
killing
Kids
it.
sounds like.
I hope it sounds good because I'm just looking at it right now.
Hi, my name is Vicky. I'm Tian. I'm Akbar. And we are Super Kids!
Super Kids kicks so much ass.
So like Super Kids are definitely like the best band we played on the pod.
They're so good. Somehow they made it more punk.
Yeah, like the
I don't
way
know if it's
that-
like their kid energy.
It was like the guitar tone. Like I felt like they were like leaning into the sort of like possible punk interpretation of the song. It's so good, man. How old are these? I need to know how old these kids are. They sort of what's the like kid metal band? Oh fuck.
Oh, the one that there was a documentary about. Or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah, because they're like three young like oh fuck, what's their fucking name? Anyway, it's
Well,
fine.
when I
People-
search Super Kids, I find the Super Kids Daycare Center in Quebec. So
yeah, or like
shout out
Super
to
Kid
them.
Ice Cream.
Official daycare of the pod, Super Kids.
Yeah,
daycare
exactly.
and preschool centers. Yeah. So okay, I wish I don't do the chef thing as good as I used to. I'm just gonna go in order. Now I'm gonna bum you out a
Unlocking
little
the
bit.
Truth. Unlocking the Truth was the name of that band.
Yeah. Okay. I never watched that documentary. There's too many documentaries that are like kind of good. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh,
I don't
totally.
know. Okay. Speaking of, this is
Great. Fuck
this
you.
is a documentary about how life sucks. This is Lou Folks, Blink-182 First Day ukulele cover featuring, and I refuse to believe this is a real name, Ant, A-N-T, and then Lightfoot. Like, really? Your first name is Ant?
Well, and also your last name probably isn't Lightfoot. I mean, this is a quite the twee ass fucking stage name.
Yeah, so these two fucking guys are on top of a building, uking it up. Who I believe is Ant Lightfoot is wearing a Mouse Rat t-shirt, a reference to Chris Pratt's t-shirt on Parks and Rec, which is like, look, I love going to gift shops as much as the next guy whenever I'm like walking around 30 Rock in New York or something. But you don't fucking buy a Mouse Rat shirt. That's too far.
Have you ever owned like a sort of fake TV or movie corporation shirt?
I feel like you can do it if like it's really, really old. I feel like I probably owned some Office Space stuff like 10 years ago. But I do feel like TV and movies and especially video games are like, it's always tempting to buy that shirt because like we all love Super Mario, but you don't buy a Mario shirt. Like it can't be done. I think the merch pundit will back me on that one.
Yeah, I mean, we can check in with, especially the idea of those things that are like, quote unquote, a little obscure, where you're like, you have to have, it's not a Parks and Rec shirt. It's like, do you get it? It's Chris Pratt's band on Parks and Rec.
Exactly.
But-
I mean, I love wearing shirts for like 2001 movies that I find at the thrift store. Like at Sundance a couple years ago, I wore a different shitty shirt every day because people always like give away like promotional shirts to thrift shops. So I had like, in fact, I even had a Dumb and Dumber 2 shirt, which is like my prized possession.
Oh, that's actually sick.
Yeah, and then I had like, I don't know, like Minority Report and then like I think Get Shorty or something. I don't know, like shit like that is cool, but a Mouse Rat shirt, I don't know, that's too much.
So, okay, is it going to be as bad as the Mouse Rat shirt?
Well, let's find out.
Car just can't wait to pick you up on our very first date. Is it cool if I hold your hand? Is it wrong if I think it's lame to dance? Do you like my stupid hair? Would you guess that I didn't know what to wear? I'm too scared, what do you think?
It's funny I mentioned Office Space a second ago because they're definitely making O face while they do that.
It's, oh, okay, I hate the song again, so that's good. So, you know,
Okay,
you don't want
so
your,
that's another in that column.
you don't want your progression to just be linear. I mean, fuck, I got nothing, man. Just
I've been getting a lot of shit from you this episode that it's too visual lately. But unfortunately, I
That's
do have to show you this because it's pretty awesome.
I mean, that's pretty
They must-
consistent.
Yeah.
That's not like a new critique of your
But they're-
approach to the pod.
But this must have been a class project or something. There's multiple videos that are sign language music videos of the song.
Oh, sick.
So, I don't know. I think it's just the actual song playing. Yeah, it is. But, I don't know. It's kind of cool. Not that I know sign language. They might not be doing it at all.
Well, what are the comments? People just said they liked it. I like it because there's two women. One of them's got like a flat brim Philadelphia Phillies hat on, which is like sick. And then the other one kind of looks like Martha Plimpton, like circa Goonies.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? And so like when you said that, I was like, is this like Martha Plimpton in the 90s doing somehow a time traveling Martha Plimpton doing an ASL first date, which would be extremely my shit. And so that's how I choose to interpret this.
Hey, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Okay. Well, I think what I do like about this is the narrative that I'm piecing together as I go through it, which is that like the stupid simplicity of the song that we don't like in the context of a Blink song is also what makes it like kind of have universal appeal, and it's like almost like more accessible because it's so simple.
And I also
like little kids are playing it, and then like there's a lot of little kids coming up.
I also don't know that this. I mean, like it's probably just that it's a popular song, so a lot of people did ASL versions of it. But it looks like this person's YouTube channel is like entirely ASL covers of Tonight, Royals. There's one of Generator, which I thought meant Bad Religion's Generator, but it's someone else's generator, which like I don't care as much about. But it seems like it's like a lot of the one woman in the Phillies hat, but it's like the two of them doing these like ASL covers of My Chemical Romance songs, which is sick, honestly.
Yeah, that's pretty tight.
Like
not
this
the
is
greatest for a podcast, but
no, but it's just like
I don't know why you brought it up. Like I don't know why you made us check this out on the podcast. But.
Yeah, sorry, I'm full of regret.
Oh, she got rid of her hat.
Well, I'm just saying, if you want to, now I'm just saying, as I was like, you can look at this later. This stuff is like just insanely charming, and the thing that's like a reminder that YouTube is so bad, but the great thing about YouTube is that stuff like this exists. Like that has 4,000 views, and it's just like two kids doing ASL to a My Chemical Romance song, and that's really nice.
And you just said this exists again.
Yeah, well, I'm getting ready to bring it back, so I'm like sort of laying the groundwork to sort of make people.
All right. Well, keeping along that narrative, I just actually edited my list a little bit and moved something down because I'd like to stick with this sort of accessibility angle. Mm-hmm. And there are so many like kids learning music in school that are playing this that I just fucking love. And these girls rock. They're just like dressed so junior high punk.
Oh my God.
It's so sick. This is uploaded by Jacob Marshall, but I don't know the name of the band or anything. It just says Blink-182 First Date band cover. It was uploaded 2016, June 7th. Yeah, we'll talk about how sick they are after we listen to this. Like, it's impossible not to love the song when you hear and watch that.
Well, yeah, this is like impossibly perfect context. Like, these kids are probably 15, maybe. They are so like 15-year-old punked out.
So I guess the drummer I'm thinking is the uploader because the whole channel is like a dude drumming. So I think Jacob, the drummer, must be who uploaded it, and he's wearing like the Flash Marvel tank top with a backwards hat and fake Ray-Bans. But then the two girls in his band are like, yeah, it's amazing.
They are like the coolest
amazing
teens ever. Like, yeah, this is great. Because this is the thing where like I never. Like, my version of, being into punk in high school was just, like, wearing black T-shirts and jeans. Like, I didn't, like, ever embrace, like, the freakier nor deakier side of a potential punk existence.
Yeah.
And like, these, like, young women have
like,
just,
we're talking Kool-Aid in the hair. We're talking a yellow and red ringer tee with overalls over top. 2 pairs of Converse, one of which are knee-high.
Yeah.
Like, it's so... This is, like... when you see a teen movie and they have quote punks in the school, and I would always think like, oh, that's not right. That's too far. But like, apparently not, because kids do dress like this.
And they're
It's
also,
so sick.
I think it's like important to note that it's not just like they're dressed awkwardly, like that young person thing where you're like trying very aggressively to express an identity and you just look like hilarious. Like both of these kids are owning the shit out of like the outfits that they have chosen. And I'm just like incredibly happy for them for just existing in this parking lot right now.
I agree. Not to mention, they do a really good job of the cover. They play really well together.
Totally, yeah. They got fucking chemistry.
They sound really good, despite the fact that they're playing through 2 practice amps with a drummer who really wants to show off. I mean, it's kind of, this is Blink-182 basically. The drummer wants to shred,
Yeah.
and the guitar and bass don't sound that great, but they're still they're playing better than Blink-182 actually.
Totally. That was much better than the cover you played earlier where Tom is like, you know.
So good. Okay, so let's check out some Mates now instead.
Ooh.
This is the British version of that. It's again this time those people were playing like in the schoolyard, probably at lunch or something. This is uploaded by Harry Wise, 2015. All caps here. A young band in a school in England, Wiltshire Pewsey Vale School, played one of Blink-182's best songs, First Date, played by a young band called the SSBJ with one of their teachers singing. Oh, that's a teacher. Okay, I was like, that's quite a big boy coming out there to sing. But especially they embrace that size differential with the sound when he comes in. So I'm going to play it a little bit early. But so here's this school band.
It's so disconcerting because all of the kids are seated in this gymnasium in like uniforms. And then you have this like big man singing First Date at them.
I didn't read the caption when I saw it earlier, and I was like, that is one big boy. And how am I going to talk about this big ass boy without like making fun of him too much? But knowing that it's a teacher, it makes a lot more sense because it's like
But this always,
the enormity.
the enormity of this boy. But this like always sort of brings me kind of right back to like being in high school and like having, you know, like a performance, you know, some bands in the cafeteria or whatever. And like the teachers would do, or like a teacher and some students would do a Weezer song or whatever. And you're like, that's cool. But is it? Like, is it cool? Because what I would like to suggest is that it's actually fucking weird.
Yeah, it is weird. It's weird how like I mentioned a few weeks ago, no one really picked. I don't think anyone listened to the end of the episode, but I found it weird that one of the responses to NoFX making fun of first responders at the Vegas concert was that they donated money from a punk show to first responders. Like they literally gave door money to cops.
Yeah.
Like I feel like things that are too uniting that they kind of get rid of any animosity towards like authority is kind of strange in some sort of punk context.
Yeah, and I also like I'm not even thinking of it as like just punk shit, but more like, does this teacher like want to look cool in front of the students? Like, what's the point as an adult? Like, as a kid, I got it because like I would want to play. I would want my band to play in the CAF because like I thought we were sick, and I wanted other people who were my peers because they were also fucking children to think that like our band.
They were fucking children?
Yeah, it was, high school, man.
It was a different time. It was the 90s.
Yeah, social mores have evolved, and that's good. I'm not saying it's not good, but like, when you would play in front of your peers, you would want them to think that you were cool. And like, does this teacher want the kids to think that he's cool? Like, what's the point? This is sort of what I'm getting at. It took me a few years of getting out of high school, but I was like, what is the point of being a cool teacher?
Well, I think perhaps he's the music teacher, in which case every music teacher... Actually, that's not true. My music teacher was proudly a piece of shit. He would, like, throw drumsticks at kids' heads and stuff if they fucked up.
My music teacher was, like, the salt of the fucking earth and, like, one of the best teachers I've ever had. But, like, he would never get up and play Blink in front of sing a song.
I think most music teachers do want to be, like, School of Rock, cool guy. Teach the kids the power of music by
Is it School of Rock? Did School of Rock just like ruin a generation of teachers?
I've actually never seen it because I loathe Jack Black, but probably.
Yeah.
I think, you're right though. Being a cool teacher is like kind of the most narc move you could do.
It's profoundly lame. Like the sort of really kind of direct version of this that I'm going to say, because this podcast is so long and I just assume no one's going to listen to it, is like, I remember being in high school and there being like women that I thought were attractive. And then like teachers would seemingly be like flirty with them and you're like, I get it. These girls are hot. And then you grow up and you're like, that's disgusting. Like that's fucking insane. Those weren't hot girls. Those were fucking children.
The same example here is that these little boys in this English school are the teacher's like, damn, these kids are badass punks. I want to be in a band. I want to be their front man.
Yeah, like, why are you the front man? Get some kid who's like awkward to sing this song. Like, you shouldn't be in this band, bro.
I'm not gonna lie. I mostly played it because I thought that was a giant absolute unit, as they say, not a teacher. And now I'm feeling very confused. So I think we should just move along.
Yeah, that's fine.
So now we've got a studio duetto. This is what I mean with this song. There's so many different interpretations. This is a drum and cello cover.
Oh, okay.
So a little pinky up for this one, a little bit classier.
Sick, man. So classy, but aggressive.
Yeah, actually, I think I fucking hate it because it reminds me of like the way that every city's like Philharmonic Orchestra or those kind of things are so desperate to try and be relevant that they might get like a local graffiti artist to make a mural of cellos on the side of the building, or like I feel like this is actually kind of the teacher's pet thing again of like, I can make the cello cool.
Yeah,
they said it couldn't be done. They said it couldn't be done.
To me, so I love like string quartet and piano tributes to like punk and emo albums and groups. I think we've talked about this, right? Yeah. And so this is just like so squarely in my wheelhouse of like the various playlists that I have that are just all like Taking Back Sunday, cello album, like full albums of this shit, which is so good. So
Yeah.
no, I think to me this is just like, just because you play cello doesn't mean you don't like to rock, Josiah.
It made me wish that the guy in Yellow Card was actually playing a cello, like hauling a cello around.
And like doing backflips with the cello.
Okay, the next one I'm going to play you is a 7-year-old boy named Lincoln and his band Color Killer. I love just the actual silence on your end. There's just nothing left inside you. So this band Color Killer is Lincoln, age 7, Nate, age 10, and Dylan, age 10. Okay?
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah, I'm here.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go. Don't wait. This might over on it.
I love this video so much.
It's incredible. So these are 3 kids. They're in, I guess it's a basement, but it kind of looks like a barn from a horror movie. Like it's a little, it's a little
It
weird.
seems like one of those basements where the dad somehow has so many disco lights. Like he just owns like so much equipment. He probably runs an audio video company. I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
there's like innumerable disco lights and then at least 2 camera angles that he's cutting between. So this is obviously Lincoln's dad because, you know, everyone here is very talented. Like these are all young kids totally nailing this cover. And yet the title of the video is 7-year-old Lincoln and his band Color Killer.
Ooh.
So this is definitely Lincoln's dad sort of taking charge of production duties here. But to be honest, I'm okay with it because the result is quite delightful.
Yeah, and I love the drummer is wearing a T-shirt that says something like warning. There's some sort of warning about having swag on the cover. I can't quite read it, but the drummer does have swag because you know what? I feel like you don't necessarily need to learn how to do fills if you can get back into the song. You can just kind of go into like Chris Dadge free jazz mode and then get back into the song. It's fine. And they never stop the song. So
all you need to do is end together and your band sounds sick. That's all that matters. Finish the song at the same time.
All right, I've got 2 left for you, Sammy.
Oh my God. It's gone by so
It's
quickly.
such a brief cover journey that we've gone on together.
Yeah, it's like we have just been talking nonstop without multiple interruptions. Various other things that we had to record. This has just been one clean.
It's cool. It's cool how our 1-year anniversary has not been an agonizing endurance test.
It's so perfect.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you pick. Do you wanna do something that might be upsetting first, and then end on something positive, or vice versa?
Start upsetting, end with a thing that could not be potentially.
Okay, I mean, this isn't super upsetting compared to the other traumatic things that have just happened to you, but this is a breakcore remix, and it's very intense.
Oh, okay.
And somewhat terrifying. So this is uploaded by Long Live the Animals! ! It's breakcore. There's some cool ass art with like, I don't know if it's Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or what, but there's like a Ninja Turtle drinking hooch with a Crass logo. I mean, this is cool. This is very like intriguing ass. I want to go down this SoundCloud hole.
Yeah, like this is a scene that I think we should explore further.
Yeah, but so this is, I guess the uploader's Long Live the Animals, but I think that might be a label or something because it says Terry Sun and Kenko Taiji. The first date, Blink-182 Amen Punk remix. So let's see how long we can handle this.
I have high hopes.
At this point in time, like abrasive, loud sounds is pretty much all I actually can process.
Yeah,
anymore.
like that to me, I was like, it was good because it made me feel something, but I couldn't tell you what that thing is because I'm incapable of sort of separating my exhaustion with like my affection for the band, my sort of contempt for this entire project, with my admiration for our ability to sort of see the concept through to its only logical,
like
ultimately horrifying conclusion.
I kind of want to like either make out with you or beat the shit out of you right now, and I can't tell which it is.
Right.
I just feel so many confusing things.
Yeah.
But I think I might have actually tricked you because I just remembered what this is, and this is definitely the worst thing of the whole entire thing. So this is a MIT a cappella group called the Logarithms, performing First Date in 2012. Okay, let's see how much of this we can stomach.
So I'm obviously on the record. I mean, loving Harms, loving a cappella music, you know. But I don't think I've ever watched a video of an a cappella troupe perform. And
I don't think it's normally like this. There's like 100 men in different colors of pastel, like blouses, I will call them.
It looks so Christian. It doesn't even look Christian. It looks like Scientology. Like it's 20 people.
It looks like NAMBLA.
Yeah, like the sort of like different pastel button-ups, you know, all just grooving in the most horrifying way. This is what I think of when I think of this song. It sounds to me the way this sounds, and it conjures this in my mind. Like this is, again, I understand it's a podcast. This is a visual manifestation of how this song sounds.
Well, this is the promo video that's going up on the YouTube.
Yes.
Or I mean on Instagram and Twitter for sure.
Yeah, for sure. This is, so please follow. I mean, God, I don't know why you would actually. Don't.
As far as I'm concerned, this is the new official video for the song.
Yeah, I mean, look, we talked a lot about how good the video is for the song, but this is better. Or at least more evocative.
We finally are allowed to say these two sweet, sweet words. Final thoughts.
Listen, my final thought is this. The song is still bad. There are some glimmers there in the covers, but like, no. Just, it's a no from me. The video is sick. Boomer is an icon of a generation, and we need to be able to separate those things and recognize them on their merits, or sort of be honest about their deficiencies. And I hope you'll join us for some reason we're not done talking about this band or this podcast this week. So tonight, if you're listening to the podcast on the day it comes out, we are gonna keep fucking doing this for some reason.
We've decided to just go kamikaze on the week of our 1 year anniversary and just
we lost our minds completely.
I don't even have a final thought.
You must have some final thought.
I don't know who I am.
What's your
anymore.
final thought? We'll talk about this on the thing, but what's your final thought about this being the anniversary of the pod, though?
It's been so fun up until right now.
Yeah, same. And now a guest. So as promised, for the last week, we have been hyping this, the event of the last year of Blink-155. The reason that Josiah, you and I started this podcast.
Yeah.
On today's episode, celebrating our 1-year anniversary, we have business reporter for Canada's paper of record, the Globe and Mail, Josh O'Kane. Josh O'Kane, how are you doing?
It's a pleasure to be a pageman on the pod.
Now, wait, do you also give us money?
Do I give you money?
Did you say a patron of the pod?
A pageman.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
A
goodness,
pageman of the
Yeah,
pod.
of course. The pint and the pageman. Yes, of course.
And of course, the pageman couldn't arrive.
Oh, wow. Guy, there's not only are there documents, but there are 2 bottles of Blood Brothers beer.
Couldn't come without a couple of pints.
Oh, my God. Josiah, you are missing out here.
Would you like Paradise Lost sour ale? I
would-
just cracked one, and
I
that's
would
now yours.
love a Paradise Lost guava sour ale. Thank you. Cheers
Cheers.
to you.
I said
Stop
cheers.
saying
Oh, God.
cheers. It's making it so much worse.
I'm sorry, man. Cheers to
just-
the pageman.
You also have to realize this is a monster of your creation, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. Look at. I just like that there are monsters that you can create that bring you beer. Like that's fantastic. I'm sorry, I had my headphone in, so I misheard Pageman as patron, and I thought, wait, are you actually giving us like $5 a month, and then also
I'm pretty
giving
sure.
us
I
beers
think he
and
also is,
documents?
to be honest.
How else am I supposed to get the Sclusies? How was I supposed to get Garnier Fructis?
Oh, that's true. That's a good one. Josh, as a reporter, do you have a favorite Sclusy that to you really demonstrates the journalistic prowess of Blink-155?
I mean, the RudeScape Felon was unexpected.
I know, it's a good episode, right?
It was handled with humanity.
Yeah.
I thought it was just it was you took a person who was wearing a Blink-182 shirt and managed to interrogate them about their criminal past. And also managed to find advertising executives from the early 2000s.
I know. All things that Josiah has done. Those are all compliments for Josiah. Now
as I
I'd like
said-
you to compliment me. It's fine. You gave me a beer. You don't have to say anything nice.
Well, you
about
wrote a
me.
good book. We actually, I mean, you guys almost never talk about it on the pod, but I actually cite Sam's book in my own book.
Which, of course, was a best-selling book. So you wrote a book about the king of Dartmouth himself, Joel Plaskett. Do you know if Joel Plaskett is a Blink-182 fan?
I actually really wish I had asked him before this episode. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll see if he wants to show up someday.
If he wants to, yeah, join. Maybe he could like do a cover or something. Like him and his dad could just sort of jam. It'd be lovely.
Do a Stan Rogers style jam. Yeah.
I think people would love it.
Did we reveal that we're not done the episode yet? We had to pause it for
Right.
this guest spot.
I think it's important to provide sort of some behind the curtain shit, which is you and I talked for so fucking long, and then Josh was on his way over, or sorry, Josh. Because the S is so important.
Josh.
So we had to pause. He's here with the documents, and then after this, you and I are going to seamlessly. So earlier, what you've actually this is like a Penn and Teller bit or whatever, or like an M Night
Except
Shyamalan
we both
thing.
talk too much.
Right, exactly. Where early on in the episode, the transition into the covers was in fact when this was recorded. So we will have pretended at the end of the covers to not know what the documents are, when in fact we both know what is in the documents.
Which makes me scared.
Earlier
What
in the
if
episode.
What if the documents color the way that I approach the covers this episode? I mean, these documents, Josh, you've hyped them up so much.
I will say that I have done none of the hyping up.
Okay. So
you have literally. I mean, we've already established I've only ever spoken to you indirectly through my coworker Sarah of screenshotting text messages that you send about the pod. But through that, I think it's been really hyped.
Well, yeah. So let's.
Nice use of the passive voice, Josiah.
So
the pageman is logged on.
So I would like to provide sort of some context, which I think I gave a little bit in the previous episode. But Josh, you're here now. Let's sort of situate ourselves, which is you and I were at another book launch.
Also on our mutual publisher, ECW
a
Press.
fellow ECW published author, Michael
Okay,
Barclay.
Josh is straight up definitely the official pageman of the pod. I'm calling it right now.
I think that's, yeah.
I don't like this, but I accept it.
I mean, it's either that or you're Bill Billingsley's mom. So
I'm also the ghost of Christmas Presents. I'm also the defender of pop punk journalism / the creator of the Indie 88 beef.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit. Okay, so that's another. So you were the one that tweeted at us the morning that Indie 88 stole our valor.
Yes. I was frustrated when I heard it. And I just sent a tweet without even putting in my contact lenses or having a coffee or thinking about it. And it exploded into something I wouldn't have ever imagined.
I mean, Marsden...
The flame still burns. Yeah.
Marsden, the merch pundit, still with some regularity tweets justice for Blink-155 and Indie 88 plagiarism scandal as hashtags, which I've occasionally clicked on only to find that he is still the only one using them. But
I will say that I don't know if it's plagiarism. I think it's just poor attribution. And yeah, plagiarism is more possibly a written word thing. The pageman should know about this.
Yeah, it's like, this is some pageman shit here.
Yeah, we're getting too into the pageman right now.
So Josh was the one who sort of sounded the alarm on the scoundrels in Indie 88 pilfering, if not outright plagiarizing our content. We are at Michael Barclay's book launch at the Horseshoe Tavern, an incredible evening of song. And Josh and I are talking with the pod, and he sort of in what in my mind are hushed tones, but probably are sort of barked tones over Ian Blurton performing Nautical Disaster, explains to me that he has used his skills as a business reporter to unearth documents.
That is what I did.
And that I have these documents that I need to share with you, and also I should share them with you soon because I feel like eventually Josiah is going to get to them. Just by virtue of you burrowing into every imaginable hole related to this band, Josiah.
Does it involve erotic Sonic the Hedgehog art?
I'll be back in a sec. I gotta check.
His eyes just sort of cast downward, like he's just got a folder full of Sonic the Hedgehog artwork. And so I was like, oh, well, that's great. We can do it. And you were like, no, insistent. You were like, I got to come to your house.
Didn't have to be at your house. You just had to be at a place where we would both be.
Right. A public place is fine. We had to meet in a parking garage. And I need to be able to sort of slide these documents to you because that's an important part of it. So in addition to Josh being at my house near an abattoir right now, we are also recording this on a camera that I have strapped to a railing in my house so that later on, I believe this evening, in sort of real time when you're listening to this, we are, of course, doing a Blink-155 live stream on Twitch. We're going to have to fill some time. And so one of the things we're going to do is reveal the video of the real documents being slid across like my very tiny table. It's not a lot of sliding space.
Yeah, we're going to have to maybe move your laptop to do this.
Yeah, we'll have to sort of...
I'm so glad that I was invited for the audio of this.
Well, it was important because I think I'm going to need to sort of explain some things to you. So I'm trying to rearrange my desk without unplugging my mic right now. So, Josh, are you ready to begin...
All right.
The sharing of the documents.
How many documents we talking?
I think it's a half dozen.
Oh my god.
Okay, so I've created a document-sized space on my desk. Again, you can watch this on a video on a live stream later because this is the sort of riveting and important content that we are known for, of course.
All right. Each of these tells an individual story, but several of them combine to tell a broader narrative about the band. Blink-182.
Okay.
Here's the first document. Now, I believe...
No, wait, don't talk over the slide. Let's make sure we catch the slide on the mic.
Yeah, I missed that.
Okay, well, it hasn't been slid yet. 1 second. Okay, we're sliding the first document now.
Whoa.
Did you get
I got
that?
chills.
So that
it's like I'm in Spotlight right now.
Yeah. When they make a documentary about the podcast, this is going to be like high-intensity Spotlight shit.
Now, the first thing that was said last week during the episode about what this could be was, I really hope he doesn't print out some tweets. Now, before you recorded that, I had printed out the following document. You may lift it up and read it to Josiah and the audience.
The following is a tweet from friend of the pod and recent newlywed Nicole Villeneuve. Congratulations.
What's the date on the tweet?
The timestamp on the tweet is May 14th, 2011. 10:12 p.m. It appears to only have one like from the local record store, Sonic Boom. So not a popular tweet in the end for you, Nicole.
For context, this tweet has been going through my head almost every single episode because I think it was a tweet from Nicole that made me realize that Blink-155 existed, and I thought about this tweet and did a search for it, and it still existed, and you may read it.
Okay, so the tweet is, laughed at barely if legal guy on TTC with fate fell short this time chest tattoo. Soon after, a blissful rain-soaked Blink walk home.
That's nice.
That's a nice memory. So is this from the show? Is this from like...
No, the show we were at was 2009. I remember seeing that tweet and being like, oh my God, someone who is 17 years old got a fate fell short this time tattoo. And then I realized that was in 2011, and they're at least 24 now.
So we now have to find this person.
We now have to find this person. But also, it made me realize, number one, Nicole, to full circle this, also blurbed my book.
It's more about books.
More about books.
Josiah.
Number two, it made me realize that someone out there probably has a "life is too short to last long" tattoo.
Oh, for sure. Can people?
Hell yeah.
This is probably, again, like we're in the part of the pod where people stop listening. But if you have a Blink tattoo, please tweet it at us. So if you are the fate fell short this time person, if you have life is too short to last long or whatever it is, please send us a photo. I know, Josiah, you had some success requesting videos of people in vans listening to the pod, and those have been trickling in over the summer. So send us your Blink tattoos, and if you're this person, God bless you and keep you.
Another thing about this is how honest and heartfelt of a tweet this is. Like, I remembered her tweeting about a fate fell short this time tattoo. Mm-hmm. And just thinking it was really, really funny. And I looked, and it's kind of just an honest tweet about like an innocuous Toronto summer evening. And yet, Twitter just isn't like that anymore. Everyone is either being extremely negative or extremely performative. And it's just this tweet is a time capsule.
This is an extremely 2011 tweet for sure.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, life is good and someone had a fun tattoo, eh? Well, fuck
And
everyone now.
She probably just hoped that I didn't see the tweet to make fun of her in G-Chat for it.
Well, Josiah, it's now printed off, and you can dig into it on your own time. I'm unfortunately just a little update while the second document gets slid to me. For people looking forward to seeing this in real time, the camera that I set up appears to have died. So I think we got a video of the first document being slid, which should be enough for the real heads, but you know.
Oh my God.
Oh, honestly, dude, you do not get to be exhausted with me right now. This is not your role in this whole thing. Okay.
Document number 2 solves a mystery that I've been wondering about since well before I became a great Blink fan. When I was just a casual fan in high school, wondering exactly how do you define this band? And you guys made an allusion to this in the previous episode. In your conversation. Gotta give the audio here.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
That was good. That was a good
So
slide.
good.
This is the U.S. patent registration for the name Blink-182.
This is interesting.
Blink-182 only has one hyphen.
And it was filed in 1999.
Probably.
Well, that's what it says. It says filing date June 21st.
No. Yes, but probably soon or after the publication of the Family Reunion CD single.
Interesting.
When they had a capitalized version of the logo that you guys co-opted for the podcast.
So on the patent, is it capitalized or not?
It is all caps with one hyphen.
That's so interesting. But then later on, and this is very curious, so it's a patent for the word mark, all caps, Blink-182, but under owner, it refers to the registrant as Blink-182, capital B, not all caps, with no dash. So the owner of the trademark for all caps dash Blink-182 is Blink-182 with no dash.
So that's almost like their numbered company or something.
Right, yeah, this is how they file their HST.
They're offshore.
Let's just say we'll get to those details.
Well, wait, okay, so a few other pieces here. So, of course, This is so interesting. Okay, so the owner is registrant Blink-182, composed of Tom DeLonge. Nailed it.
You did it.
And Mark Hoppus, both U.S. citizens. So this partnership, to me, okay, this is interesting. So is Blink-182 as a legal entity only Mark and Tom? Like Travis is not a part of it. Scott was never a part of it. And there's oh my God, there's another document coming. But before you pass that on, another piece of information that I want to sort of read from this is it has what I guess is just the business address for Blink-182, which
It's probably their lawyer's office, I would guess.
Okay, so if people want to give that a Google, can we read that, or is that doxing someone?
This is you can find this
fairly easily.
Yes.
Okay, so in Cardiff by the Sea, the address for Blink-182 is 1534 Lake Drive, Cardiff by the Sea, California. And it says that the cancellation date for this trademark is 2008. So it's entirely possible that the trademark for Blink-182 has been up for 10 years.
I don't think it is. In fact, I only printed out one of the things.
Okay, well, I'm just imagining a future in which me and Josiah register Blink-182 in the future.
It's possible.
Okay, this is interesting. Okay, should we move on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to the next document. Oh, okay. There's also, by the way, in addition to documents, a pad of paper,
literally says.
It says reporter's notebook on it, and it's got his name and his phone number in case it gets lost.
Hell yeah.
There are actually confidential interview notes in there.
Oh, shit. Anything you can, drop?
No.
Okay.
Not to the 5. Not that would be of any interest to the 5 people still listening to this.
Yo, straight up, though, the listenership, we have some jokes, but, the listenership has been good, so you probably should.
Don't tell him that. Don't tell him that. He'll
Sorry, he'll clam
publish
up.
it.
Yeah.
He'll give the documents to someone else.
No, you're
about
right.
us.
Okay, this is like a safe
I'll
zone.
give them to, was it just Chris? What's that other?
Oh, yeah. No, just Zach.
Just Zach.
Whatever you do, don't give it to the Alkaline Trio podcast. That's the only thing that would really upset Josiah.
Yeah,
right.
That's the one bridge too far.
So there's several things to note on this one.
Okay. That was a good slide. Okay.
Now, first things first, I want to note that Josiah last week said, definitely no adult should say poop. That's me quoting. Now, I want you to read the name of the legal corporation whose filings are in front of you, Sam.
So I am holding, this really feels like a true crime thing where you're trying to catch someone, where you're like, yep, nope, this is, it says Sam Sutherland is a big dingus. Oh, no, I never said that. So, okay, I am holding a incredibly legal-looking document, like a photocopy of a legal document from the state of California, Secretary of State, a statement of information. What is this? A domestic stock corporation? Can you just describe the piece of paper that I'm looking at, or should I?
This is a piece of. It's simply the information form for a corporate registration in the state of California. And I want you to read the legal name of the business that you are holding. And I want to remind again that last week Josiah on the pod said, "Definitely no adult should say poop."
The company this is registered under is. Poo Poo Butt Incorporated. And
poo poo is better than poop, though. I'm okay
right,
with
that's
poo-poo.
okay.
Well, they're two separate words.
Right, so Poo Poo Butt Incorporated, is this the official? Because then it's the names of it's Mark and Tom and their addresses.
That actually very well might be their actual addresses,
So
because you'll notice one is in
those.
San Diego and one is in Los Angeles, I believe.
Yes. So, of course,
Whoa.
Tom's address is in San Diego. Mark's is in Los Angeles. I suspect that these are their real addresses, so we won't read these out loud on the pod. And so, what is this? So what am I holding? Is this them registering Poo Poo Butt Incorporated?
It's not them registering. It is the statement of information of the corporation registered with California.
So what is Poo Poo Butt Incorporated?
It, as far as I can tell, is the holding company under which they held their copyrights.
I'm looking at, according to the nerds on Reddit, who are their own version of Pageman, someone on there says that Poo Poo Butt dissolved in 2009, at which point it became Viking Wizard Eyes LLC, which is another one that I've heard pop up a lot.
You're really spoiling the documents there.
Well, I did have a feeling that was going to be one of the documents.
So-
not going to lie.
But what's interesting about this to me, and I mean, I don't know if this is on Reddit, but just from looking at this document, is that the address for Poo Poo Butt Incorporated is definitely Tom's address. So according to this document, Tom is the CEO, Mark is the secretary, and Tom is also subsequently the CFO. And then they're both the directors. But all of the holdings appear to be with Tom at his address. And is this like publicly available? Like, how do you get this document?
There's databases available.
And this is like what you do for your job, right?
Yeah.
I need to clarify that I know we're talking about real journalism, but I gotta say, Poo Poo Butt is completely fine and very funny. But poop, P-O-O-P as one word is where I
Right.
really took issue last week. I just need to get that out there.
Okay, well, that's important. So I'm going to pass back the Poo Poo Butt Inc. Document.
I went to university for 7 years to do this kind of work.
Your employers will be so proud of you. Another beautiful big slide. So, Josiah, I'm holding right now the certificate of dissolution for Poo Poo Butt Incorporated, but this is like
I'm sorry for spoiling it.
But like
this is why I didn't want Josiah to find this
I
before
know,
me.
but this is like the real thing. Now, interestingly enough, here
Now, who else is an officer of the corporation?
Travis is now part of Poo Poo Butt Incorporated. So earlier, it was just the two of them, and now they've added Travis to the sort of.
So, yeah, sometime between 2006 and 2009, Travis has made an official officer of Blink-182.
That must have been cool. Didn't you get like a badge or anything?
Probably not a badge. He was probably just happy they were touring again, and also that he survived the plane crash that he was in.
Right. Yeah, he's probably pretty stoked. So, okay, walk me through again. Like, can I find this document? Like, how do you go about finding the certificate of dissolution for Poo Poo Butt Incorporated? Or is that like a trade secret?
I definitely want to find their home addresses, and I'm afraid that Sam's not going to give them to me now.
Mm-hmm.
I did a corporate search on the state of California's. I basically did a bunch of Googling and got a bunch of basic facts, and then I just started putting random keywords. This is how journalism is done. I started putting random keywords into official document databases until I found these documents.
And those are publicly available databases.
Yes,
That's what I'm saying,
I did not.
The Globe and Mail doesn't pay to have access to some
Some databases we do. So these are the documents that are publicly available. I did not take advantage of my employer to find anything you couldn't.
Are you just saying? Okay, I'll edit this out if you can tell me that you.
No, all of this is public. I can show it to you in 5 minutes.
Oh, fuck that. Okay, it's fine. I wasn't going to cut it out if you told me anyway, and you knew it. Okay, so that's sick. So we have. Can we put these up on? Because I feel like these will be good. This is.
I might suggest. So they really didn't save as PDFs. They would only save as weird images. So I printed them out, but I can send you guys the links.
Because they look good.
I think they would look cool if
official as shit.
If we redacted a bunch of it and then put Blink 155 watermarks all over it.
Okay,
yeah, that's the fucking move for sure.
I like that.
Okay.
So I would maybe suggest, redacting their home addresses and maybe their signatures so people don't forge their signatures.
Forge their own way into a Blink 182 business. Okay, yep, I get that.
Okay. One more document.
The final document. I'm going to be extra quiet so we hear the slide. 1 second, I'm sorry.
So I'll make sure it's turned in the right direction here.
So much theater. Also, for it to get to me, it has to go under a mic cord, so it's actually like a whole thing. Okay? The final document, perhaps not surprising based on Josiah's spoiler now, is...
I have mentioned that on the pod before.
Yeah, he has mentioned, this is actually what started my sleuthing, was finding this document, and I work backwards from here.
So this is the official...
Corporate registration for Viking Wizard Eyes LLC, in which... Who are the officers of this corporation?
It's only Mark and Travis.
When was it registered?
When was it registered? It was registered... hold on. February 17th? Is that what I'm looking at?
2016. What album was released in 2016?
California?
Who did they say? Who says they're still in the band and is just taking time off?
Whoa. So you think? So is this different than the trademark for the name?
The trademark for the name is literally just a copyright. It's kind of like having a song royalty. This is about having business ownership, commanding all those royalties.
So
damn.
So what you're saying is, so Viking Wizard we know is Viking Wizard Eyes, which is like so much more like.
It's way worse than Poo Poo Butt.
Poo Poo Butt is like
It's pretty.
classic.
This is, in the parlance of the pod, pretty epic bacon.
It is.
It is.
It's so that. And so February 17, 2016, they form. So this is like would be the date of the formation.
I don't know if they formed it then. They could have formed it in 2009, but the most recent registration,
Right.
You can't access all documents. They only put up certain ones. You can pay to access other ones, which I didn't do.
You didn't. I mean,
Sure.
you bought 2 beers, which is like pretty good for me. And so this is effectively saying that very clearly, Tom is not.
Tom is
involved
not an
whatsoever.
officer of the corporation that operates Blink-182. He may still have a financial interest. You can be a stakeholder, but he is not a controlling officer of the corporation that runs it. If you open up Spotify right now and you look at California, it says copyright Viking Wizard Eyes.
So he would have no stake in anything that was recorded under the Viking Wizard Eyes. So everything that sort of
Post when he would have had. So it's not necessarily a stake in what's recorded, it's having a
Right.
controlling say in what you do with the company.
Okay.
So making business decisions to advance.
And in your experience, how standard is something like this? So if you have a band where members are cycling in and out, do artists tend to register new companies for different iterations of the band, or are people typically fired from the company? Like, have you ever done this work on, like, not for a Blink-182 podcast?
I have only ever done this work for not bands, so I cannot speak of the typical behavior of bands. One, you could probably do a similar search if you need the corporate names. I'm just coming up with another totally non-punk example, but like Red Hot Chili Peppers and like John Frusciante joining, quitting, and then rejoining, and then quitting again. It would be interesting to see at which points he was an officer of the band.
Right.
And then not, just as an example.
So you could be, so for example, Matt Skiba is obviously not an officer of the band.
Which actually, one of the reasons, one of the interesting narratives that came off this that I found very interesting is however many million California B-Sides episodes ago. You guys were wondering why.
There's so many more.
Well, you guys were always wondering why he has to sing on every track. And someone, I think, at some point said, well, probably it's in the contract that because Tom's not in it, Mark has to be on every song. And I do believe that I don't think Mark has to be on every song. I think anything that Matt Skiba writes, Mark has to be on those songs in order for it to be considered a Blink-182 song registered under Viking Wizard Eyes. This is based on the publicly available documents, but those are the narratives that could emerge.
I got another question here because I'm looking at the certificate of dissolution of Poo Butt Inc. and I'm looking at the registration for Viking Wizard Eyes LLC. What do I call this again? I'm calling it the right thing.
It's literally just it's a statement of information. It just says it's the most up to date statement
Right.
of the current officers and directors of the company.
So I'm now going to pass these back to you, Josh. Is that the same signature from Travis Barker? Like whatsoever? Like it's. Like Josiah, like we'll put this on the socials.
No, look, because you're looking at the wrong part. Like, look at this versus this. You're comparing. He wrote his name. He spelled his name out.
Okay, I get it. Yep,
in which he puts the T in lowercase. In fact, he spells his whole name in lowercase, and then his signature looks like the Halifax cartoonist Deatter.
Because I was like, yo, Travis Barker has changed.
No, he just spelled out his name in lowercase and then signed his signature.
Okay, I get it. So So I guess like Matt Skiba is like an employee of this corporation in the same way
In
that,
the way that people will
Guitar Tech.
derogatorily refer to someone as a hired gun.
He is a hired gun.
As far as I can tell, he is a hired gun.
I mean, that kind of makes sense.
I mean, I was looking at Instagram stories a few hours ago, and besides seeing friend of the pod, Bill Billingsley, post a shirtless photo in ska pattern shorts.
Yo, Bill Billingsley is posting thirst traps on Instagram right now. It's great.
Your mother doesn't approve, Bill. Think about what you're doing.
It's thirst season if you're Bill Billingsley.
Your mother doesn't approve. But also, I noticed that like John Feldy, who I for some reason followed on Instagram because of this podcast, I guess, like tweeted in this like your Instagram story in the studio like with Mark Hoppus and Travis Barker and no mention of Skiba. And Barker still hasn't even clarified whether or not he still has those blood clots. But
Oh,
He
yeah.
did
apparently
actually.
in
He
the
just
studio.
did release a
Oh, he
video
did?
about. I don't know. It's not very. It's pretty boring. But he released a video where he's like meeting with the doctor.
But
about
is it-
how he still
But
has
is
them.
so it's not he's not clear to play because like I'm thinking pretty strongly about going to Vegas and I'm like waiting for him to get cleared so I can like buy tickets.
Yeah, did they cancel all
Yeah.
the shows?
They canceled all the ones that were within like a 6-week radius of the
Wow.
diagnosis, but I don't know about the other ones. I have a friend who has
The
tickets
other-
in November.
The other thing everyone was talking about was how the official Blink-182 Funko Pops that were just announced are only of Mark and Travis. So I
Perhaps-
guess that kind of fits with this narrative too.
Perhaps Funko Pop only respects the officers of a corporation.
Josiah, are you going to buy all those because you're a fucking toy collector, you weirdo?
Hell yeah.
Doesn't toy collecting seem
another
like something
thing-
I would do, like if you were making fun of me?
I'm like looking around in your apartment. I do see one toy. It's of Bart Simpson.
Yeah,
Oh no, there's another one of.
Bart Simpson.
Oh yes, that's yes.
I mostly have
a
Simpsons
Jaws
toys too.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah,
the
so
same.
you're a Funko man. I bet you that Jaws was manufactured by Funko.
No,
it's just not a pop.
Look at the Jaws is it's a long story with the Jaws, but it's a charming tale of it involves my sister and my wedding. That's basically the beginning and end of it, to be honest.
Another thing that I just noticed from looking up.
Wait, does
Reddit,
that mean you
there's
got
no more-
married to your sister?
Yeah, it's a long story, like I was saying.
There's no more documents for me to spoil, right?
No, that is in fact.
The folder is empty.
Because they also at least temporarily had an LLC called Fun with Goats.
So what was fun? Do you remember like what the era of Fun with Goats was?
No, but someone's just saying that one of their Guitar Tab books, the LLC was Fun with Goats. But
Sam, can I look at your computer right now?
Yeah, okay, hold on. So real time.
We are doing some business journalism in
Josh
real
O'Kane is going to
time.
do some business. Just be careful because everything's plugged into this right now.
Okay.
So while Josh O'Kane is doing his journalism,
And we're
I'm
approaching.
literally writing California LLC
yeah,
search
now I'm
into the
watching
tab
it.
of his browser.
It's very easy, to be honest.
Yeah. we all
Journalism
do
is
that.
just doing things that are easy, but no one tells you that they're easy. That's literally journalism.
Okay.
But I don't really
Ollie.
get the self-important journo vibe from your Twitter, unfortunately, which might mean that I have to revoke your status as a pageman.
Because
Because there's like you've never posted a photo of like a voice recorder on top of a lined notebook.
next to
and,
a
like,
bottle of whiskey
and
that
saying,
says
like,
Writer's Tears.
Yeah, I need a stiff drink with all this transcribing all this bloody transcribing I have to do.
Because I just do my job and I like it, and then I just complain about other far more ridiculous things on the internet.
Yeah, I don't know if you're a pageman then.
But like a
Unfortunately.
spiritual
Thanks.
pageman. I mean, I think because there can't be an actual pageman of the pod because we would hate that person.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, the real journos, as they love to call themselves, would do work as easy as you're doing, but then talk about themselves as if they're like saints. You know,
I
You're not
really
giving that vibe enough.
When
You
we
need
get
to
off
be
the
more
pod, I really got to
pompous.
figure out the person because you described a very specific person when you first came up with the Pine of the Pageman, and like part of me was
yeah,
like
there
worried
are-
that it was
there are
me, and then
people-
I was like, I'm pretty sure this isn't me. I'm glad to know it's not me.
No, it's
but
not
when we're
you.
done
It's
recording, I got to
definitely-
figure out who this
It
is.
is there is one quintessential person that it is, but there's also many, and it's also like very like that. Now we're getting really inside baseball, but like Wonder Dick, that character, also seems to be a culmination of quite a few of these people that I've come across.
Oh,
in
for
my
sure.
travels.
So
Alright,
it
so
looks like
what-
Fun with Goats is not showing up on the California LLC business search. This extremely real journalism that's happening in real time on this podcast.
No, was it Fun with Goats? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah,
Dude, I don't know that it exists.
It doesn't exist, at least in the state of California. Now, it's possible I could do a search, like the other obvious would be New York.
So, of course, all of these documents are going to be available with the redacted personal information for the members of Blink-182, watermarked on our socials. Like, maybe this will be like a thing that'll end up like on the Smoking Gun or something.
Unless we really want Bill Billingsley to go to Tom DeLonge's house.
Ooh, that's interesting.
I mean, that might be like a special Patreon tier for like...
Right. If you want the uncensored documents, it's going to cost you $5 a month. So we're going to upload because they're public documents.
Yeah.
So, but you have to pay us for the work that Josh did. So if you want to see the documents unredacted, patreon.com/Blink155. That's where you can find them. Of course, on our socials, you can see the unredacted versions. And then tonight, if you are listening to the podcast on Friday, we are going to be live on Twitch starting at 8 p.m. Eastern to talk about the last year and to share the video of Josh sharing the documents with
You probably don't need to put the first, like...
No, I'm going to run the whole thing in real time. There's like going to be 20 minutes of... You pulling out the beers was also good. That was like a good piece of theater.
Fun with Goats, I think, is also... Maybe it's different because it's a publishing company. Would that make it a different search?
I don't think so. Is it Fun with Goats LLC?
That's what someone said on Reddit, and I found a Fun with Goats Discogs page with a lot of their publishing information.
It's totally releases. It could just be. Is it a bunch of different bands putting out releases, or all Blink?
Yeah, it's all Blink and like Boxcar Racer and stuff.
It could just be one of the 48 other states I have not yet searched, but that you are welcome to search.
And that's all going to happen in real time right now on this podcast. No, okay, I think we've made Josh do his job enough for one evening. Josh,
I think let's let the nation decide if Josh is the pageman. But in my mind, I don't think he is.
But again, I think it's like a jokey. It's fun. But anyway, you're right. Let the nation sort of decide Josh's fate. Josh O'Kane, thank you for being the 1-year anniversary guest with Flip the Notebook, please. Yep, that's the notebook closing right now. Bringing your documents to my home, sharing your passion, both professionally and personally, with us, for bringing me a delicious Blood Brothers beer, which, again, this is like a great... I'm going to start making, like, what's another thing I could make gags about? Just, like, tons of weed. I don't know. Whatever other people...
I went to... Opera Bob's to try to get pint glasses to like pour a pint into the microphone, but none of the bartenders there who I know were working, and I didn't want to like ask a bartender, being like, "Can I just borrow a couple pint glasses and bring it back in a few hours?"
Promise? Yeah. Well, I appreciate your commitment to the theatrical for an audio medium. Of course, I know Josiah does as well.
Yeah, this is revenge for me for what I've made people sit through.
Josh, do you have any other like books or anything that you're working on right now? Is there anything that we need to promote any more potential best-selling ECW novels that'll mention me or Josiah even, perhaps?
You can still buy my old book, which is called Nowhere With You. And you can also subscribe to the Globe and Mail. Probably not if you're not Canadian, but if you're Canadian, consider subscribing online because there's nothing more punk than being informed.
I really thought you were going to say, you can start the Globe and Mail. Probably not for long. Like, I thought you were
that's what I was expecting too.
It's like...
No, we actually have a sustainable business model.
I'm quite grateful for your excellent work and the work of all of your peers down at the Page Building. And thank you for these documents. They're all going to be available. Josh, your commitment to the documents and to beer is greatly appreciated by me and maybe Josiah.
Thank you, and defend pop-punk journalism.
Sick.